I absolutely think the 10-year-old girl, the case that we've, of course, heard a lot about, an incredibly tragic situation. I mean, look, I've got a 9-year-old baby girl at home. I cannot imagine what that's like for the girl, for her family. God forbid something like that would happen. I have said repeatedly on the record that I think that girl should be able to get an abortion if she and her family so choose to do so. But let's talk about that case. Because why was a 10-year-old girl raped in our community, raped in our state in the first place? The thing the media and Congressman Ryan, they talk about this all the time. The thing they never mentioned is that poor girl was raped by an illegal alien, somebody that should have never been in this state in the first place. You voted so many times against border wall funding, so many times for amnesty, Tim. If you had done your job, she would have never been raped in the first place. Do your job on border security. Don't lecture me about opinions I don't actually have.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you something about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun, sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished our 13th year of broadcast excellence. Now in our 14th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. Just one step below God. The saviors of our democracy have concluded that other than declaring Donald J. Trump a liar, that they unanimously are going to subpoena him. And they know full well that will never happen. He will never appear before that committee. They also know that no one is watching their charade of how to lynch an ex-president without due process 3 weeks before an election. Let's deal with some of their unfounded allegations. You know, to be a liar, one has to know that he's wrong. He has to intend to spew out a falsehood. While there wasn't much evidence at first, investigations by Rudy Giuliani started gathering affidavits of eyewitnesses. That's thousands of people risking jail to testify, to vote cheating that they saw with their own eyes. When we saw that Trump was leading in all the swing states, counting suddenly stopped in those states, coming alive again seemingly by signal in the early mornings of 11/4. Trump knew something was crooked. Then we found out the supposedly unlinked Dominion machines were actually linked to the internet and could be easily manipulated to come out with a predisposed result. In Georgia, a water main was reportedly broken, so they chased the GOP out, but they forgot to turn off the cameras. Because when they thought it was safe, ballots seemed to come out in the middle of the night, suddenly appearing, being rolled into the counting area with suitcase hidden under tables. And this was on film. And it also showed voting counters double or tripling Biden votes that came in the middle of the night. Bill Barr testified to the 1-6 committee that as Trump's attorney general, there was no evidence of cheating. This was December 1st, 2020. Not even a month had passed since the election was over. And now we find that as AG William Barr is also in charge of the FBI. Now, either he knew he was lying, or he was ignorant that the FBI was hiding the Hunter Biden laptop from all media. And then 51 intel agents were recruited to write a letter calling all this a Russian hoax. Now, either Barr is an incompetent hack or he was guilty of treason. There's no two ways about that. I'm saying, and especially with the 2000 Mules movie, that there was overwhelming evidence that the election was stolen and that Trump won the election by a landslide. Who's lying now, Bill Barr and Liz Cheney? You want our democracy saved? It's time for the real liars, cheaters, and traitors to be made accountable. Let the hearings and trials now being run by John Durham expand. Trump's record so far, 7 years of investigation, 2 or 3 impeachments, I'm losing count, $100 million spent to nail him, and he's been exonerated every single time. Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. My name is Dave Weinbaum. I'm here with my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum, also known as The Law. Good morning, honey. Say hello to everybody.
Hi.
You look nice today.
Thank you.
Are you warm?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we turn on the fan because we need all the fans we can get here.
Yes, we do.
And also the producer.
Good point.
Thank you. The producer of the show, JP Maxwell. Hi, JP.
Good morning, everybody.
And at home, Rick Henderson, who does all the clips and the bits. And by the way, we were supposed to have another clip at the end of that, so why don't you play that now, and then I'll get to this gentleman who's appearing on the screen. Hit it.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party. It's now under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms enshrined in our Constitution, and who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police, who protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, these are some of the main reasons I'm leaving the Democratic Party.
That's Tulsi Gabbard, and we're going to hear from her later. Tucker Carlson had a really good take on her, and we got another gentleman here, and looking very good, very dapper today. And I don't see he's not shooting anywhere. He's at home apparently. This man is 254 years old. And ladies and gentlemen, he's been through a lot. He knows a lot. He's been through the whole history of this country. He's a veteran, and probably a veteran of the Revolutionary War on up. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, the man who wears a tin hat just to cover it all up, John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you, JJ. What's on your mind?
Well, a lot. Number one, I just had a knee replaced a couple of days ago.
Oh, my.
And I can't say enough good about Phelps Health. Got to tell you, Dave, they treated me like a king in that place. It
Really?
was just superb. I spent a few days in Barnes Hospital about a decade ago, and I felt like the Joker in a deck of cards there. One looked just like another, and this was individualized. It was just wonderful. So Tulsi Gabbard, I heard what you said in your monologue, and if you recall the debates when Donald Trump was running for office, Tulsi Gabbard came across as the moderate Democrat out of that whole litter of clowns that they had up there in the debates. And it doesn't surprise me a lot that she left the Democrat Party. But note that she did not say she was joining the Republican Party.
She did not, right.
Is she going to become a libertarian?
I heard her on the radio just this morning on the way up to work, and she's not committed to that. She can be either independent or become Republican. But
she ends up an independent. But the fact that she left the Democrat Party just weeks before the midterm elections says some things.
It's a big deal.
That it is a big deal. And kudos to her for doing that.
Yep.
That took a lot of sand, and good job, Tulsi. I wish more of your Democrat friends would leave that wacko party.
Yeah, all my Democrat friends. Thanks.
You have Democrat friends?
Oh, actually, I have a few.
I have none.
They're nuts, but they're
yeah. The few that I used to have are nuts. Let's talk briefly about the economy. I've been talking about the economy the last few weeks because it concerns me greatly. We just ended the third quarter. Stocks are in a bear market. They dropped 2% and then back up 2.6%.
Yeah.
There is volatility in that market. But when stocks are down, bonds are generally up. T-bills are generally up. And that trend is there, but the government meddling in our economy has made that trend not as clear as it's always been for the last 30 or 40 years. Mortgage rates, 20-year high. A 30-year fix yesterday, 6.92%. Last year it was 3. The year before that it was 1. Tell me that the Biden administration has not inflated our economy. You know what that's going to do to the housing market. Sure. It's going to take a tumble big time.
Sure.
So the mansion that somebody owns is worth $200K less than it was previously.
And if you built it like we built it, it's even worse because it was more expensive to build because of all the delays.
Yes, indeed.
My wife did a really good job on this house, and kudos go to her because I turned it all over to her. And it looks good, and it's we're probably about $100,000 over what it is, but it's understandable. I get it.
Well, my hat's off to Lisa. You married up. You did good.
I did a good job this time. Yes.
I think
you have nothing to do with this. It was
time.
Me. I did a good job.
I like the caveat this time.
I recognized the talent that was lacking.
Well, after the dismal track record that you had, you did really
All right. All right, let me mention something about Biden and this economy. Do you know that he was turned down for oil by the Saudis, and then they what did they do?
OPEC cut production.
They cut production, right? They cut production. Okay, thanks for that. And because of that, he started harping against the Saudis. Well, the Saudis released something that said that Biden had threatened them, had told them that they need to keep the prices down during the elections.
Or he would do what?
Or he would do something to them. He didn't.
What would he do? Cry?
I don't know. No. They can take away the weapon purchases they made from the United States. They can make it hell for them with Iran. Saudis don't get along with Iranians. All right.
Doesn't this look like an act of desperation to you, Dave?
No, it sounds like an act. If you're thinking about impeachments, you're thinking about what Trump got impeached for, which was a lie by a quid pro quo, allegedly, with him and Zelensky in the Ukraine. This is exactly what this is. He is trying to get a foreign government not to spend money, threatening them to do something, and if they don't, he's going to do something to them to affect an election.
Our foreign policy is run by fools, Dave.
Oh, well, fools and criminals.
This is no doubt the worst foreign policy that we've had since Barack Obama's apology tour. This is just dismal. And for the most powerful country in this world to be acting like that, we are a laughingstock amongst our enemies. We are a laughingstock amongst our friends. And it's going to take decades to repair this. It's such a disaster. The man needs to be impeached today. And I think he probably will be after the November 6th elections. I'm sorry, November 8th elections. I think when the Republicans take the House, they're going to immediately impeach him. There is so much evidence that is valid on videotape. Now, remember the crap they used to try to impeach Trump? It was garbage. It was all put up stuff.
Right.
This is real evidence. Of course, then you're stuck with Kamala. So you trade one fool for another. That's I see JP shaking his head. Yeah, it is. It's trading one fool for another.
Sure.
Social Security is going to go up 8.7%.
Whoopee.
Aren't you thrilled?
I'm thrilled.
Inflation is right now 8.2%.
You know what's getting it? It's the middle class. They are getting nailed. The middle class is getting nailed.
Yes, and I am the middle class.
Yeah.
So where are you going to spend that 0.5% gain that you make?
Probably at McDonald's.
Yeah,
that was a cheap plug. That's wrong. I'm sorry.
I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good. You can buy a Happy Meal with that, or you can go to Starbucks and buy half a cup.
Our prices are going up too. We had huge price increases, and then we raised the rates. We raised our employment pay by about 30%.
Yeah.
At least.
And you and everybody else, Dave.
Well, sure, I know.
Taking a hit.
I'm just happy I'm surviving so far.
If you happen to be an entrepreneur and are in retail, you're in trouble because you have a choice. You can either raise your prices due to increased prices that you have to pay for the raw materials, or you can absorb that hit and make less profit. Well, at some point, you're in negative numbers on that profit.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
You lose money at first. If you go up immediately 30% in your labor costs, you're not going to make it up in price increases for a long time. That's exactly what happened to us. So we were in tough shape there for a while. I think we're getting there now. We're getting to be profitable again. But we did. My son did that, and I think right now he's been, sort of rewarded with the right decision, but it took a while.
Well, the point is you are surrounded by a huge enterprise. You have the backing of them, even though you are an independent. But what about mom and pop, the guy that's on Pine Street there? He was running on about 3% profit to begin with, and now he's a minus 3% profit. How long can you pay the rent?
You're not going to last long with that.
So what Joe Biden and believe me, our Democrat Congress, with their continuing resolutions for the last 20 freaking years, have ruined the economy of this country. They just keep kicking the can down the road and saying, we'll take care of that later. Well, of course, they never do. And omnibus spending, who in the hell came up with that idea to roll a bunch of garbage into a budgetary bill and get it passed because it's a have to? So now you've got all this socialist garbage policy that is law.
Yeah, and this new Green Deal, nobody gives a damn about that. Nobody. No. We want our oil back. Link up the damn oil.
The only thing,
and that's all you got to do, and he won't do that.
The Green New Deal does for you is it takes more green out of your wallet, and
well,
what
sure.
a damn shame that is.
Sure.
Now the January 6th committee, they're going to subpoena Trump.
Ooh.
We're right close to an election. And Trump is going to tell him to go pound sand.
Of course he is.
As a matter of fact, he mentioned the other day, what took you so long? Now,
well, he was kind of waiting for it in the beginning of this. He was almost looking forward to it.
The committee is on record as saying that the judicial system runs too slow to be able to prosecute this guy. So they're doing this politically in this idiotic committee in the House. And Liz Cheney, oh my, what a disaster.
She is a disaster.
No wonder she got primaried. Good grief. The woman is a rhino, and she's an idiot rhino. How in the world do you get elected with idiotic policy like that? What they do? Give drugs to all the voters?
Well, the people in Wyoming just dropped her real hard. She only got 29% of the vote.
But how in the world did she ever get elected to begin with, Dave?
Well, I don't know that she was like this, and she was not like this. She voted with Trump all the time, and all of a sudden, here's a coincidence: Trump started blaming the endless wars, on people like George Bush and Cheney.
Well, Dick Cheney.
Her father, Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
And that's when suddenly she changed to total DEFCON 5 over Donald J. Trump.
Initially, I thought she was paid off.
I don't know. I mean, it's stupid. What she's doing is stupid. And this other guy, Adam Kissinger, who I actually met once and talked to for a while, and I know people who know him, and they say they don't know what the hell happened to this guy. Yeah, that could be a payoff, too.
You know, there's a lot goes on in politics behind closed doors that nobody ever sees.
Right.
And
yes,
I
do know
how
that.
much went on behind closed doors.
Well, you wonder how much is going on right now. You know, they're all like in the House, so they have to run for election now, and they're all pretty much Democrats. Cheney's out, so is Kissinger. The two so-called Republicans on the committee. These other people are up for election, and I bet you a lot of them are not going to get reelected. There goes your committee.
And for those of your viewers that are constitutionally challenged, and I know there are a few, we vote for the House of Representatives, 2-year terms.
Right.
So every 2 years. We vote for a third of the Senate. So the Senate was designed to be a much more stable enterprise. 6-year terms. Supposedly, these are the wise leaders of our country.
Yes.
And I think our founding fathers imagined the House to be the rabble. If you think of the British Parliament, very much the same, except we don't go to fisticuffs, not often anyway. Our Constitution was designed for stability. And unfortunately, we have stability in the House of Representatives, but it is stability of the stupid. How in the world did these people do what they're doing? The Green New Deal, this horrible inflation control bill, which was nothing more than a giveaway to the socialists. They're paying off the people that sponsored them. And they aren't even trying to hide it anymore, Dave. We have come to George Orwell's book. We're living it.
Well, we're living it, but we're fighting back.
We are.
We're going to fight back, JJ. We're never going to give up. I'm never going to give up. And I think we have to inspire people to get the hell out and vote. This is critical. November the 8th, it's my birthday. I want a birthday present. Go vote. Go vote that day. Don't wait around. Don't be there present so you know you voted and you know that they know you voted. Okay?
Indeed. I encourage all my friends to get out there and vote.
Yeah.
First, all my friends are going to go vote anyway.
Well,
They're
sure.
patriots.
Sure.
I don't have friends that are clowns anymore. I have shucked them. Sorry, boys. I just don't have the patience for you.
Yeah, well.
One last parting shot, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yesterday, happy birthday to the United States Navy. 247 years. October 13th, 1775. I was just a kid, I'm so proud of it.
You were like 7 years. No, you weren't even born yet. You're 254. Yeah, about 7 years old you were. Yes.
Yeah, about 7 years.
Wow.
And I ultimately enlisted. Dave, I love your show. I'm out of here. I'll listen to the rest of it.
JJ, thank you so much for being the opening act, as always, on the Dave Weinbaum Show. Thank you.
I do enjoy our Friday conversations, Dave.
That's John Jeffrey Bradshaw. All right, let's hear it from the rafters. Okay, you can stop now. All right, it's tough to signal people when you're locked in a room, you know?
We can only do so much in such a quick amount of time.
It's terrible. But I wanted to do a couple of bits. Or clips, I mean. I want to do the Jim Jordan on Varney clips, because this is what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, when the Republicans at least take over the House and probably will take over the Senate. But listen to this, 8 and 9.
The FBI was paying Danchenko, the guy who's on trial right now. Danchenko lied to the FBI. So such a deal for the taxpayers. We're going to pay someone to lie to us. He was the primary subsource for the Steele dossier, which, of course, they used to go get the warrant to spy on Trump's campaign. The dossier they knew was false. And Christopher Steele, we now learned that they were willing to pay him to validate something they already knew was false. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But I think it just underscores how out of touch and how political the FBI has become. You couple all that with what we now have had with 14 FBI agents coming to us as whistleblowers, what they did when they raided President Trump's home, taking the phone of a sitting member of Congress, kicking in the door of a pro-life leader, arresting him in front of his wife and 7 kids. I mean, on and on it goes. So this just, I think, further validates what we all know, which is the FBI is purely political now, going after their political opposition. We went from a secure border to no border. So Mr. Mayorkas and everything that's going on there is critically important. And then just what I talked about, this political nature of the FBI. I mean, this is the same FBI who we learned a year ago was using counterterrorism measures to spy on parents. So that has to be investigated as well. Not to mention the fact that 2 years ago, about this time in October, 2 years ago, before the most important election we have, 51 former intel officials wrote a letter saying the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. We know that's not true. We knew at the time it wasn't true. But 51 former intel officials write that letter, which became the basis for suppressing that story, which we all know had an impact on the election. Maybe if they don't do that, we don't have Joe Biden as president. And if we don't have Joe Biden as president, we don't have record crime. We don't have a border that's no longer a border. We don't have a 41-year high inflation rate. We don't have $2 gas that went to $5 gas. We don't have the FBI attacking your First Amendment, Second Amendment liberties and being weaponized against us. So that's critically important. I want to know what those 51 intel officials, what they were basing that letter on.
And I want to see the first witness be ex-Attorney General Bill Barr, who I thought was great for a while. And then I began to see these anti-Trump things, these no cheating, no cheating, it's a big lie, that kind of crap. Well, who was the biggest cheater of all? Bill Barr, who was the titular head of the FBI, okay, who knew, had to know, or was unbelievably incompetent not to know that the FBI was shutting down the Hunter Biden laptop, which, as a poll was taken, said that the Biden voters who didn't know about this because of the shutdown would have voted for Trump or would not have voted for Biden, 17% of them. That right there is a stolen election, and Bill Barr, you are guilty of it, or you're guilty of total ignorance. I'd love to see you plead total ignorance, because that's what you are. All right, we're going to go to the board. Let me just tell you who else we got on the show. Before I do that, we just listened to John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Always a great opening act. We don't coordinate at all. I don't have set questions for him. He just goes and studies and is almost always right on the stuff that's really important. And he's been doing this for 11 or 12 years. I didn't even realize that.
It's pretty amazing how in sync you guys are without even having to prep for it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a good combination. I'm glad to have him. Next up, in about 10 minutes, we've got Rabbi Moshe Rothchild, who's also a great guest. We get the international Middle East news. He is the second most important person in Israel and, well, his own house, according to his wife Yonit. And then we've got Amy Cooper Hakim. She's coming out at 9:15, and I always have a great interview with this woman. And it's going to be another one where we're going to be talking about certain words, and we're going to talk about vulnerability, the concept of vulnerability. Now, I didn't think much of that when I first heard it, but now I'm thinking, you know what? That's an important thing. I mean, do we act vulnerable? Is it a way to get something that you want? Or is it an illness that gets you into trouble? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting conversation because I think we use it both ways. And then last and certainly not least is Elad Hakim because, well, he's a great lawyer. He's a great writer. He's on all sorts of TV shows, and he's in Politico. I think he's in Politico, but he's in all these great internet sites that print out all these columns. He's a very smart guy, and he's a star of TV as well. All right, now let me see John Stevens. Wait, I want to see that one first. John Stevens. I'm not able to locate you on radio. What is the channel number? Well, that's because I'm not on radio anymore, John. I'm on a podcast, which is live from Facebook and Twitter, and then later on, I'm on Spotify,
iHeartRadio, anywhere podcasts are found, and also DaveWeinbaum.net.
Yeah, and also Amazon.
Yep.
Amazon,
anywhere you find a podcast.
iTunes.
Yep.
Right. So I'm on a lot of places. Hopefully you're remembering now. Yeah, I was on radio till about 2018, from 2008, about 10 years I was on radio, and now for the last 2.5, 3 years I've been on podcast. So here I am. Pamela Tanner, good morning, Pamela. Good morning to your husband Patrick as well. Kathy Sanford, good morning. It's finally here. Happy Friday. And they coined that, so I got that. They're terrific fans and terrific people. And I got somebody down there. Have a amazing and safe weekend. Love to you all, and back at you. Back at you. Why can't we throw hearts out on the screen when they do that kind of stuff? I don't understand.
We can put love instead of
John
like.
Stevens. Okay, great.
I do it sometimes.
Patricia Oden Maxwell. Sorry, I'm trying to rush the clock here. Beat the clock. Sounding great, looking great. I'm watching as long as I can at a prayer conference in Branson. Go team, the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show and the official mother to J.P. Maxwell.
Yep, that's
All
my
right.
mama.
And she also wants to announce her conference, the 25th and 26th, with Jeff Zink. I will try to find an electronic version of that so we can show it later.
All righty.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Meanwhile, I think we ought to give the speech that Biden gave the other day about how the impact of inflation is nothing. It's no big deal, and because we had an 8.2% increase year over year, well, it's not as big as the one we had last year, and we should all be happy with this legislation. So please play his speech. And now we have a response from former President Donald J. Trump.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
There you go. Isn't that sweet? May God have mercy on your soul, Joe. You know, but let's get you out of there. I mean, you know, you just now threatened the Saudi prince. You're threatening the. I mean, we're in close to having a war with Russia, a nuclear war that pretty much you caused. You invited them in to invade. Just do a little invasion. Okay, what does that mean to you, and what does that mean to Putin? You invited him in. And now you want to start World War III with the guy to take everyone's mind off of how horrible you are and how horrible your government is. You know, he's about to put in all these militias against us. The IRS, 87,000 agents, and all armed. And they have 200,000 in the Pentagon right now, a secret army, so to speak. We only have 190,000 Marines. We got now 200,000 people being trained to who? Kill who? Americans. Okay? This is what Obama started. Go ahead.
So the government does their fiscal year plan. It's October through September. So they just set it. They didn't get a budget passed for the whole year. They just continued on at the current levels until December 16th. And the reason that's significant is even when, and I'm going to say when, the new Senate and House are elected, that still gives them time to set a budget and do whatever they want to do before the new Congress takes over in January. So the timing of when the CR is going to expire is not by coincidence. It's by design.
Yes, and there ought to be a way, and I think there may be a way, that the Republicans may be able to stop that. If they have a certain amount of votes, maybe in the Senate. I don't know.
They have to have more than majority to pass it, but if they get enough to come over the aisle like they have on other issues, then they can get it passed. So that's a problem.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, it's going to be interesting to see the carryover from Tulsi Gabbard, because we got now remember Schneider. His last name is Schneider. He's a comedian. He's a guy.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Rob Schneider. Right. You know, we can do it. We can do it all night long. Remember that? And, of course, they were talking about football. Of course. Stop it. But he is now switching to the Republican Party. And he's out there in Hollywood trying to get jobs. All right? And he knows a lot of other people now that are realizing in show business, even though they get pressured, that they know this particular Democratic government, by contrast of the Trump government, is amazing. I mean, it's incredibly bad. It's horrible, and it's going to get us into another war. Makes you wonder about other wars we were in, you know. So, I see somebody there, and he's early, in fact. But we got time today, so I'm going to have a nice hole of time if you guys want to call, talk. I mean, I can go on and talk all day long until my voice lets out, and I think my voice is a little better today, isn't it?
So far.
We'll catch it later on.
But, you know, the day is young.
Yes, and thank you for helping me.
If you're hoarse or quiet by the time you get home tonight, that's okay. You can
what do you mean?
You can rest your voice.
I thought we wanted to talk all night. I don't understand. That's just wrong.
Just a suggestion.
All right. Well, let's play this gentleman's song. We're right on time. Let's hit it.
Yeah, 1 second, Dave. You were talking to another rabbi? sounds like you're cheating on me.
No, actually, I'm cheating with you on him because he was the first rabbi. Listen to this. I got rabbis fighting over me. This is kind of weird. Okay, this man travels the world aligning Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Second most powerful in Israel and in his own home, according to his wife Yonit. He is the future rabbi to the Trump Third Temple Hotel Casino Golf Course and Spa. Please welcome all the way from Efrat, Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. Wow. I think they heard that in Cairo. Man, that's good. How are you, Rabbi?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. So, is the Lebanon deal done? Even though the Knesset doesn't support it? I mean, it sounds like it's done.
Yes, it looks like it is done. It was agreed upon. In case the listeners don't know what we're talking about, it's this huge natural gas field off the coast of Israel that Lebanon has contested, saying part of it is in their territorial waters, and so they came to an agreement of where to draw the line in the middle of the sea to decide who gets what.
That would be the Mediterranean Sea, right?
Correct.
And so is it a fair deal? I mean, is Israel okay with it?
Look, I can argue both sides. You know, those who oppose it say that, you know, we capitulated, we gave in to them, and we should have been stronger. Those who are for it say, look, Lebanon is falling apart. And if we don't give them a way to make money legitimately, they're going to have to get money from Iran.
Yeah.
And we don't want a state sponsor of terror to get behind Lebanon. And so therefore, this was a good idea. So, you know, like everything in the Middle East, time will always tell.
Right.
So my gut feeling is that I don't think it was a great idea, but
now Hezbollah, they're pledging peace now that we all of a sudden have a deal with them. Is that correct?
Right. You know, it made us look weak in the sense that Hezbollah threatened that if we started to pump from there, then they would attack us. They would launch rockets, and so. Again, the other side says that, you know, it makes the country look weak, like we gave in to terror, and we negotiated with a terror group and allowed them to control our policies.
Just who is Hezbollah? Not everybody in this country knows who Hezbollah is.
The party of God, and when they say God, they're not talking about the same God you and I. This is a God that they have jihadis who believe in killing innocents and trying to take over and control the world in the name of their faith.
Okay,
so radical terror group.
Let's talk about. Are you familiar with Kenya, or as he likes to call himself, as or whatever?
Kanye Way.
Yeah. So he's out there wearing White Lives Matter shirts along with his buddy. Candace Owen, who vaguely I've had some connection with, and that the Abraham Accords is being done just so the Kushner brothers can enrich themselves. Now, do you consider what he said to be a Jewish trope, as some Jews are accusing him of? Now he's being dropped all over the place because of this, because he said something about going 3 DEFCON against the Jews.
DEFCON, a play on DEFCON. He called it DEFCON 6 or DEFCON 3.
What the hell does he mean by? I mean, does he know what he means by that, or do we know what he means by that?
Well, he hadn't made a statement, though. I think today he did say that he stands, by what he said, and it's just incredible that. He's got like 30 million followers or something like that on Twitter or so. One of them, that's more than the amount of entire Jews in the entire world.
Yeah, it's twice the amount.
There's only about 15, 16 million Jews in the world. He's got 30 million, I think, followers on Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah.
And, people who are icons, cultural icons, which he is, they have tremendous power, and it's irrelevant whether they're educated or knowledgeable or mean or have low IQs, or it's irrelevant because they have they have a hit song, or they're a great basketball player, or whatever, and they become icons in sports or culture, and somehow their opinions matter more than everybody else, and it's mostly just because they have a huge platform, and and that's the danger here. He's got a massive platform, and what he says could have real tangible results, and that people could, there could be violence against Jews, and because of what he said, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in the next few days that someone does something. I hope we don't, but look, I don't think he's going to start another Holocaust, but there could be violence on the streets here and there because of his words.
I mean, okay, so Candace Owen, his buddy, is defending not what he said, but
I don't understand how she's defending him.
I don't understand it either. I'm trying to get this thing encapsulated in my mind. So you criticize a couple of Jews, that's no big deal. But when you start putting it as as some kind of every Jew is like this, or whatever it is. Right. That you're trying to, and what did they do that was wrong, by the way?
It's amazing. I'd like to see him wear a shirt, Jewish lives matter.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need next. Exactly. Yeah. In fact, I had that written down. You saw that on Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see your notes. I can see it on the screen.
Yeah, right. Wait. Yeah, all right. Wait a minute. My wife will verify, because it'll be... Here, read that, honey.
I can't read that.
Should Kenya and Owens wear Jewish Lives Matter to straighten it out?
Okay. If you say that's what that says, then I agree.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to
I agree with you.
Here, Rabbi, look.
You're not on the camera.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not going to lie to you.
Dave, I gave JP $20 to slip me your notes. He copied it and sent
Did he really?
Don't be telling him about our agreements behind the scenes here, Rabbi.
I saw, and this is true. I saw this morning. There was like a little shadow in our house, and as soon as I looked at it, it disappeared.
Huh?
Have you moved into the new house yet?
Nope. No, not yet.
Nope.
Not yet.
Maybe this year, maybe not.
All right.
Any day now.
Now.
Any decade now.
Yeah. It's like that.
Now, Netanyahu and Senator Ted Cruz, to be on the record here, object to all the things that are happening in Lebanon. So is he still on as one of your predictions?
Yes.
It's coming up very soon, isn't it?
Coming up very soon, beginning first week in November, we're having elections here again. And I think I predicted long ago that he is going to, for the first time in the last 4 or 5 elections, he's going to get enough seats to form a government.
And you're happy about this, right?
Look, if I had to choose, there are a lot of things I'm not happy about Netanyahu now, but of all the choices we have, he would be probably our best choice.
Yeah, what happened to Dermer? What's he doing?
Ron Dermer, he's not in the government now. He's not a member of the Knesset.
Yeah.
So I see him speaking all over. I think he's right now just doing the talking circuit. Yeah. But I expect he'll re-enter politics at some point.
You were supposed to get him on my show.
I am supposed to get him. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
I think that you have a disadvantage in Israel if you're an American who moves here, even if you've been here 30, 40 years, in that your Hebrew, is as perfect as it might be, does not have an Israeli accent. And that people are not so forgiving of that. And so
you're going to have a problem too, aren't you?
I think Dermer would make a great prime minister. But the thing is, I don't think that because he does not have an Israeli accent when he speaks Hebrew, that he would command, enough votes.
Huh. All right. So, is it legal for Jews to pray at Joseph's tomb and also on the Temple Mount? Is it legal there for that to happen?
Right. Joseph's tomb is in Jericho, and since it's controlled by the Palestinian Authority, the answer is no. There's maybe a couple times a year the army will escort people in there to pray.
Yeah.
You risk your life. You literally risk your life going in there to pray, and the locals, Muslims and local Arabs in Jericho keep smashing and destroying the tomb. It has to be rebuilt each time. The Temple Mount also is controlled by the Jordanian authorities, and there is no freedom of religion on the Temple Mount. Every place that the Muslims control, there's no freedom of religion anywhere in the world, except Dubai. I think the United Arab Emirates might be the only country where they're,
isn't that not the holiest place for Jews?
Yeah,
the Temple
Mount is the holiest site in the world for Jews.
And somehow you forgot to get this, at least control of it, to where they could pray and you could pray there.
Well, a lot of things have been changing. There's record numbers ascending the Temple Mount, at record numbers of Jews every year, but they're not allowed to openly pray, and it's a problem. Not only Jews, Christians, any non-Muslim. So it is absolutely exasperating. It just gets people so angry that we control the country, yet we can't pray on the Temple Mount.
So did you hear about Biden in Saudi Arabia? He came there to beg them not to raise the prices of oil, and they went ahead and did it, and now he's threatening them. You know what that is, don't you? It's right before an election. And he didn't want them to raise the prices because of the election. He told them that.
Why doesn't he just open up the pipeline?
Well, no, we can't do that. How dare you? How dare you wreck the Green New Deal?
If he would just announce, we'll open the pipeline. He wouldn't even have to open it. Just announce it. The prices will come down.
Absolutely.
That makes too much sense. So he's not going to do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, this guy is so backwards. It's just he's instinctually inclined to do the wrong thing almost every single time. It's incredible, And then you talk about, well, he's a guy that doesn't really make all the decisions. Yeah, I would assume that some of those decisions are Barack Hussein Obama's, because we're seeing a repeat of these militias they're forming against Americans, like the IRS, 87,000 more agents who are armed and trained to kill, and also 200,000 in the Pentagon, bigger than our entire Marine Corps of 190,000, who are also trained to kill who? Americans. This is incredible.
Well, I'm glad I live here.
Yeah, well, you started here. So there you go. All right. Other than Dave, by the way, I want to mention another thing about Candace Owens. She is claiming now that she has just destroyed Black Lives Matter, and she's got a documentary out, which is called "The Greatest Lie Ever Sold." $80 million is what these guys collected. They can't hardly trace any of it.
Yeah.
Are
they still in business even? I thought they were gone from the market.
Well, they kind of disappeared after they got all the money. They bought a bunch of houses and mansions and stuff like that, and did some things, but like maybe a couple $100,000 out of $80 million bucks.
I want to see Kanye West say that they formed Black Lives Matter so that they could, benefit financially.
Yeah, they were probably Jewish, according to him. You see? Yeah. They claim to be Jews. He claims Kanye claims to be Jewish, and I've seen this before.
Well, what the guys on the street, I've heard them once say of the Black Hebrews.
Yeah,
they said, "Are you Jewish?" I said, "Yeah," and they said, "Well, someone is. If they're like a child, they're childish. If they're like a Jew, they're Jewish."
Yeah,
he goes, but I'm a Jew. You're just Jewish. I was like, okay, got it.
Well, at one time,
we'll let you go to the gas chambers next time.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll let you open up the gas station. You take our place on the train. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I'm just Jewish. You're a Jew. So
yeah. Let them all go together on the train and see what that's like. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is what Kanye West said. He's Jewish, right?
Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, I'm a Jew." Yeah, he's a Jew. Yeah. So I don't know. They're talking to each other, and you're right. It's dangerous stuff, and it shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be talking about all blacks do this and all blacks do that. All Christians do this. All Christians. That's how everybody gets into trouble.
Yeah, it's like groupthink. It's like this groupthink.
Yeah, I mean, you know anybody who's Jewish who's poor? Oh my God, there's millions of us that are poor. Yeah. Are some of them good at business? Yeah. Oh, so what?
Or not?
I mean, is Kanye West good at business? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. If he's not a billionaire, he's got to be pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute?
They can go to our website, IsraelAlliance.org, or Facebook.com/IsraelAlliance.org, which you can see on your screen.
Okay. All right. So, everyone wants to be somebody else. So I'm teaching my grandchildren to become plastic surgeons. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild, all the way from Efrat, Israel. You got anything for me?
But I just tell you something.
Yeah.
Kanye West, the truth is I never heard any of his music or anything.
Yeah.
So I went to YouTube, I listened to it.
Yeah.
And you know what? His music, it really moved me.
Yeah.
I listened to it, and I moved out into a different room after listening.
All right. You taught me today.
All right. Have a great weekend. This is the end of Sukkot. The holiday of Tabernacles ends this Sunday. We're still in the middle. And
how come you're inside the house? Aren't you supposed to sleep outside?
Yeah, I did. I have them, but my Wi-Fi doesn't reach out there.
Oh.
So it was either that or this. So I chose this.
Thank you very much. Hi to Yonit and the kids, and Shabbat Shalom.
Take care, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
All right.
All of them.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. Yeah.
Are you supposed to be sleeping outside?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something earlier? I mean, the week's halfway through now.
I know. I never have, so I don't know. I wasn't brought up to be Jewish.
We could let you sleep out on the porch. I'm sure Gracie would come see you.
You're having a ball with this.
Gracie would come visit you.
This is what happens when a Jew marries a German. Then they want to dictate where you sleep. Pretty soon she'll dictate how I get there. She's going to have the train out there, take me somewhere. This is incredible.
It was kind of interesting. I heard.
Yeah.
I guess it's been probably almost a week ago at this point.
Yeah.
Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, the famous rock star, they gave millions to BLM, and now they're saying they want their money back.
Yeah, good luck.
It's like, well, you're the one that chose to support that without checking it out thoroughly.
The reason I'm no longer holding my tickets for the Cardinals is the fact that they contributed millions of dollars to them, and then you couldn't get a policeman to protect yourself in that area where I used to stay and love it up there because of BLM. Okay? They would be patrolling the streets like at our good friends, the McCluskey's house up there. So we got to get him back on, too. Okay, let's do commercials. We got plenty of great people that we want you to spend your money with, and they're great sponsors to this show. And if you believe what's going on in this show, and you believe that I'm trying to get this message out somehow, some way, please support my sponsors. Hit it, please.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, we're back, honey.
I'm talking to JP. Can you see that?
I know, but we're back on the air.
I'm not done with my discussion.
Oh, excuse me. Let me just stop the show for a minute. So,
if I send you a picture, can you put it up there? Okay.
We were just off for like 3 minutes.
I know, but I was busy.
Oh, well, excuse me. Yeah, you were talking to Summer outside.
Well, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Come on. I'm sorry.
You locked me out of the room.
I'm sorry.
You locked me out of the room.
I'm sorry, world, that my wife, I didn't lock you out of anything. I thought about it, but I didn't lock you out of anything. Okay. Well, let's do a couple of these clips. I want to start off with Trump's speech in Nevada. That was just a couple days ago. And let's do 2 and 3 of that.
31 days from now, the people of Nevada are going to fire your radical Democrat governor, Steve Sisolak. Shouldn't be there. A radical left. You're going to defeat your extreme left-wing senator, not respected at all in Washington, D.C., Catherine Cortez Masto. Hasn't done a thing on the border. Hasn't done a thing. You're going to send Joe Lombardo to the governor's mansion. And you're going to send Adam Laxalt to the U.S. Senate. And you're going to elect an incredible slate of true America First Republicans up and down the ballot. And we are going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. Under Democrat rule, the price of gas in Nevada is up 100% from the days of the Trump administration. 2 years ago, think of it, 2 years ago, everything was so good in our country, and now it's going to pieces. It's falling apart. You now have gasoline $5 today, $5.54 a gallon. It was $1.87 a couple of years ago. You're second only to California. Someday you may catch him. I hope not. Inflation is costing the typical Nevada family $845 a month. These aren't my numbers. These are numbers from the people that do the numbers in Washington, and they try and make them as good as possible. You know that, meaning low. So when you see that, it's over $1,000 probably a month already. It's $10,000 a year and probably a lot higher than that.
So I want you to hear this because, you know, if you're looking at the mainstream media, you're looking at even Drudge. Used to be Drudge was a fair arbiter of what was going on. Now they're all in on wokeness for some reason. And everything you see about Donald Trump, he's getting arrested. This is, it's such a big deal that he's getting a subpoena. That's nothing, okay? I mean, the real story with Donald Trump is that they can't even convict him of or accuse him of jaywalking, and he lives in New York City. That's incredible. You know, I mean, if you can't find a crime over a guy, over 7 years of intense investigation, using the government's money, and half of your FBI. Even to lie about it, the guy's probably pretty clean.
And that was my thought too. If you're like faking the information to get him in trouble, and you still can't get him,
you can't even lie about it right. You can't make this stuff up. You're lying to it. You're paying people. You're offering them $1 million to say something is true when it's not. And when you find out it isn't true, FBI, you take this as if you didn't hear that person say it was a lie, and you go to the FISA courts, and you get 4 different subpoenas to hunt down whatever there is to hunt down on a campaign and then a sitting president. Now, who committed the crime here?
Right.
Where is there a crime being committed? And I can tell you, you can't go to a judge and say things to him that are untrue or her that are untrue and not expected to be charged with a felony, especially if you're in law enforcement and in the FBI. And by the way, who elected you jerks in the FBI? And I'm not talking about everybody, but who elected Christopher Wray? Where are you at, Chris? You all over this somehow? Where are you at, Christopher Wray? So we got some other messages here. I'm seeing Theo Duda. I've heard the people running CNN purchased Drudge in 2019. That could explain it. That could explain it. Thanks a lot. Theo again. Revolver.news and WND.com are good collections of information.
And okay. I know this guy, that he's a personal friend of mine, and if he's bringing that out, it's credible information. He doesn't just post anything.
Okay.
So,
all right, well, thanks, Theo. Thanks for being a friend to, J.P. Maxwell. God, he needs them all. He needs all the friends he can get.
But so,
like me.
Well, you were talking about with them fixing this. This would be a really good analogy, and I'll just use sports because it's going to be a sports weekend. It'd be like an NFL owner having the game set for him, like he's paid the refs and all that, and his team still loses. That's exactly how they set it all up, and they can't even lie well enough that they can make it work to their advantage. It's just unbelievable.
This is what they did in 2016. They cheated somehow. They cheated, and it didn't work. So therefore, if somehow Trump won and they cheated, it had to be Trump's fault. And now you get in this deal where it seems like Biden is acting against Putin because he's mad at Putin for not being the hoax that he was supposed to be. Okay, it makes no sense, but Biden makes no sense. Does he make sense to anybody? Can anybody explain Joe Biden? Is there anybody out there through all these crickets? Is there anybody out there who can explain how Joe Biden operates and how he is horrible in this country? Or even, can you tell me, do you like him still? I mean, is he somebody you'd vote again for? And what about the midterms? It seems to me like they're all phonied up like they've been in the past. Certain people were down like 9 points. A gal in New Hampshire was down 9 points, and she won overwhelmingly there. It seems like this is across the board. We now know that the polls are weaponized. They're weaponized to make people like Donald Trump, people like all these people running for Senate, Oz, Laxalt, and all these other people, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, all of them, they're all of a sudden they're like below the other guy, and you got to give them at least 3 to 5 points, other than what the poll says they are, because they're just lying about it. What they're doing is they're trying to make people say, you know what, they're losing anyways. I'm just not going to vote. They're trying to get the Trump supporters to say it, because they're going to turn out. That's not going to not happen.
He's still drawing 50, 60,000 plus people at his rallies.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
How many does Joe Biden? Well, he doesn't do this really. He did it once. He had less than 100 people there. Made it look like a lot of people, but he had less than 100 people there. All right, and that's another indication that he was not a big draw to get votes. He did not get 25 more million votes than Barack Hussein Obama. Let's face it. All right? And Donald Trump, even with the phony vote count, was still 12 million votes ahead of what he did in 2016. I got to think that he won by a landslide.
Somebody had showed that with how much Trump gained in votes that we know for sure of, and there's probably even more, but even the ones we do know about, it was basically statistically impossible for him to lose. There's no way he should have lost then. Like, the numbers do not add up.
Right.
All the counties he won, the swing. you can't. It's impossible. He can't lose then.
There's too much evidence. Now they're, and this thing about you're supposed to have evidence the day after the election. Well, of course that's not going to happen. It's not automatic. You got to do some work on it.
But to completely disregard it within that amount of time,
to call
no way.
people Brett Baer, I'll never forget this guy, and I know the guy. I thought, I watch him sometimes. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's an idiot. But for him to say it's a big lie, like a day after the election, if you say the election was phony, well, you still got what's her name out there in Georgia running for governor. What's her name? Do you remember?
Talking about Abrams?
Abrams, yeah, Abrams. She still has not conceded the 2018 race. So what? So that's not a crime. All right? If it's a crime, then jail her, sorry, took us. Okay? I mean, when has that been a crime? Everybody cries about that. All right, so Dr. Amy has not reached us yet. There she is. Oh, I just mentioned her name. And she pops up on the screen. Okay, well, let's play her song.
Of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Why do I have a chill in my back all of a sudden? I don't understand.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, it's incredible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, that was the next guest singing her own intro song. And, I use your song for other guests, too. Did you know that?
Do you?
I do, yeah. And I tell them,
nice.
I think every time I tell them it's you, But anyways, please welcome Bad Boss expert, motivational speaker, author, amazing singer, and the official shrink to Dave Weinbaum. The Dave Weinbaum Show. Sorry, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. Hi, Dr. Amy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling these days about everything?
I've got a 10 going on today.
Oh my God! And now I feel down. I'm like a 6. Anyways, I'm always like that though. I'm always like fighting to be happier, so to speak.
But it's a journey, and we choose it every day.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for her, I'd be a 3. You see?
Aww, there we go.
Yeah. Saved my butt, didn't I?
Good try.
Which brings us to my first question. What is the concept of vulnerability?
So we talk a lot about transparency and vulnerability in today's world. That's just pop language, and I think that it's sometimes either misunderstood or misused. So, Dave, if I said to you, are you vulnerable in the workplace, or are you vulnerable in a relationship? Is that a word that you feel comfortable saying, oh yeah, I'm vulnerable? Or is that something you say, no, really? No, I'm not. I was on the football team. I can wrestle. Right?
No. I feel very vulnerable.
Okay. To everyone, or only to those you love?
Vulnerable to what's happening in the world. Vulnerable. I don't understand why somebody would be embarrassed to feel vulnerable. It's, am I going to be if you walk into a bad neighborhood these days, or just about any neighborhood, you're going to feel a little vulnerable, aren't you? Right. And I consider that a smart thing.
We can feel worried
Yeah.
or scared for our safety. That's one thing. But when it comes to true vulnerability, it's exposing ourselves in a way that shares our truth, so to speak.
Okay.
Where we might say, this makes me feel comfortable. This makes me feel very happy. I'm thrilled to be here, or I'm particularly terrified to be here. It's exposing the trueness of who we are. And we talk about transparency all the time, and I don't think we always need to be so transparent. I think there are some things that we should be permitted to keep closer to the chest, things that we don't need to share with others.
Yeah.
But we talk so much about, let's be vulnerable. Oh, in order to be vulnerable, I want to share with you that, almost to allow people to feel comfortable sharing something that's their truth. But certain things shouldn't be necessarily exposed. And so that's where I struggle with that term, and why it's important for us in our relationships with people and to be truthful, to be candid, to say things perhaps that might not always be what we want the other person wants to hear. That's a necessary message, but also to be willing to accept and reflect on messages that we hear that we may not want to hear. And so I think that's elements of vulnerability that we may not always act on as much as we could or should.
You know, I feel vulnerable, and sometimes I find myself actually using it against a perceived enemy. I want them to see me as vulnerable. It's sort of like baiting them a little bit. And I've used this as a tactic several times to where I make them think that they've got me in a corner and they can stop paying attention to me. And while they have stopped paying attention to me, I'm planning my next attack. I am planning it, and I can wait years to do this. I'm getting old now. Maybe I can wait like 3 hours now, but but for years I could wait and see how things turn out, see how their problems have arisen or whatever. I can find myself in a stronger position, not vulnerable like I acted, but also in a stronger position, and I will attack. That's what I've done this a couple times. So you use
that in a strategic way.
Exactly.
To keep the information that you need close to hand until you're going to use it. I mean, I think that sometimes people are expecting us to share everything, to share, our deepest, darkest secrets, especially in social media. That's what we see a lot of times, especially with the younger generations. People are sharing everything possible about themselves or creating some fake persona. And I think because of that, that's why we have this pushback for vulnerability and transparency. The fact is that we need to just recognize that there are certain things that if we share and we play our cards like a poker player, we share it right away, and then we're not going to ever win, right? We've got to keep some things close to the chest while doing so in a strategic way, like you just described, Dave, is great. But in the workplace, a lot of times we see people who may not be truthful or may have that pretend or fake persona, and that is easily spotted. So we need to be truthful, we need to be candid, we need to be real, while still also dealing with all of these other nuances that are expected from us in society and in the workplace. And it can be really challenging.
Well, a part of my vulnerability is also that I don't do I don't do rich guy acts. I don't like to buy fancy stuff, as my wife knows. We're building a house right now. I've been a pain in the ass most of the time, but she does the house, and I'm fine. I'm okay. I don't like to do that. I don't like to. I'm pretty simple about stuff. I like to play golf. It doesn't cost much, and I like to be with my wife. I like to go out to different places, but not all the time, and not showy and stuff. And it's not like I guess that's sort of vulnerable. But then I see other people who are spending millions on stuff, and I don't. It seems to me like they're making themselves vulnerable in a time like this.
Well, sure, especially with what's going on economically right now. It's a scary situation.
And a lot of them are having trouble. And I'm watching stuff just like they are, I'm watching, my own portfolio, and it's believe me, it's draining a little bit, but it's not critical. I can still survive it, and I'm always got my fingers on it, and it's not like I'm out there spending money I don't have to spend.
I have a very wealthy relative who I approached for advice when first making some money. Did I ever tell you I sold kitchen knives when I was in college?
Yes.
Cutco
Isn't
Cutlery.
that how you? Isn't that how you?
Vector Marketing is an American-owned company. They're excellent.
What is it? What's the name of it?
Cutco Cutlery.
Yeah. Isn't that how you scared Elad into marrying you? Hey, come on!
Yes,
you want to see my knives, baby?
Actually, yes. On our second date, I took him to the trunk of my car and showed him.
Oh,
yeah, I used to carry them around in a rolling suitcase.
He's still there. All right, there you go.
But why were we talking about the next? Oh yes,
your family.
When I started making money, and it was legit money, I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And my relative said the best advice, and he said, if you do this now, and you can just, I was early 20s.
Yeah.
He said, if you do this now, you will be set for life. He said, when you work, you have to spend money because it makes you feel like you're working for something, but decide where your level is.
Yeah.
If you are comfortable, and we used cars because that was something I was thinking at the time. He said, if you're comfortable driving a Toyota, then buy a Toyota. There's no reason to drive a Bentley. He said, I could afford a Bentley, but I drive a Lexus. He said, I need a Lexus. I don't want a Toyota, I need a Lexus. And so for a young kid's mind, that worked for me to say, we can decide, we don't need to always live above our means. We can live, or even at our means, if below our means works. And so we have to, though, reward ourselves to an extent. If we continue to work, and there's no end goal in mind, we can get very frustrated and burned out. And so having little itty bitty rewards, it doesn't have to cost money. It could be time with a loved one, be that game of golf, something that gives you that feeling of, hey, I deserve this. I worked hard and I'm going to reward myself in this way. Really helps. But yeah, so we still
I get satisfied by that kind of stuff.
Our cars of choice in the Hakim home. And so
and I get satisfied by that kind of stuff. Some people just don't seem to get satisfied with, and I play golf by myself a lot. I play with other guys. It doesn't matter really to me. I just go out there and enjoy the fresh air and the sunshine and the challenge of the game itself. That has its own form of stress, but it's kind of stress that I like. And one of the biggest compliments I ever got was from the lawyer of my last wife, who said to me when we were discussing the divorce, she says, "Now, we've been looking at your records, Mr. Weinbaum, and we can't see where you've hardly spent any money." Okay? And I says, "Well, yeah, it's because she was spending all my money." Okay? And she was. Not you, honey. No, this one is frugal. She's very frugal. And I like that.
Okay.
Golly.
Yeah, but every single day, you should do something that satisfies you from a physical standpoint, from a intellectual standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. It's important to connect on different levels, and when we can do that, we can say every day I'm doing something to help me feel good physically. So I'm exercising.
Yeah.
Emotionally, so I'm connecting with my spouse or connecting with a friend. Intellectually, having a show like this, right? Discussing,
exactly.
Creating, preparing for the show.
Talking to brilliant people like you.
Well, thank you. But it's super duper important to actually put all of that together. And at the end of the day, if you can say, I've done these things for myself, then you're going to feel happy and satisfied. And then you'll be able to say, you know what, this was a fulfilling day at that level. And playing golf can knock off a couple of those ticks, right?
It's
so you've got
not
your physical
just
exercise,
for me.
But it also might be just, an emotional freedom for you to enjoy that.
It's not just for me, and I caught on to this early on doing this kind of thing, is that I make a difference to some people. Not a lot, but to some people, they actually listen to me and actually think about what I'm saying. And, most of the time they're in agreement with what I'm talking about because I do a lot of work on it. So that's a response to me actually studying a subject which didn't happen a lot in school, more so now than ever, because I want, at this age, to be as relevant as I can be for as long as I can and do what I think is appropriate for my children and grandchildren and for the country that I love. You know, it's pretty simple. For God. You know, I want to do what I think God wants me to do.
I like that. And when you have that purpose and that driven mission, then you end up moving forward to attack that every day and to come closer to meeting that. So that's beautiful.
And more than that, everybody has the bad days, and everybody has bad things that happen to them, and I avoid quitting. You know, I probably quit not very many times, but I quit sometimes when I shouldn't have. And I know that now. And so when things get tough, I still have to operate on what I'm supposed to do, even if I don't feel like doing it or I'm real negative that day.
Sure. I mean, those tougher experiences help us to get past the issue that's at hand, to move and see that brighter, greener pasture. And when we recognize that life's experiences are, even if they are failures, they're failures that help us to ultimately get to where we need to get. When we have that mindset, we can shift the same exact situation. That's why two people can see something that happens in front of them, the same exact situation is totally differently based on their vantage point and how they can spin it in a positive way. That's why I'm not all, rainbows and sunshine all the time.
Well, you're a 10 every time I talk to you. You say, I feel like a 10 today.
I try. First of all, there is something that's more innate, right? So part of my personality is to be more positive and upbeat. That's just who I am. But I think it really is a mindset. It's a purposeful choice that I make to say, you know what, I can choose to be sullen and gloomy and down, or I can say, you know what can I take from this? What do I want to do again because it worked well? And what do I want to stay as far away from as possible because it didn't? Or who do I not want to be a part of in my life ever again because this person is yucky? Or, who made me feel happy and good, so I want to be with them again and spend more time with that person. So we can learn from a situation, even if it's, gosh, I never want to be with this person again. That was a great lesson. I had a really bad situation with this woman who continues to pop up in my life. I really don't like her. I mean, sincerely do not like her. She was yucky, nasty. And everywhere I turn, she's in different social circles, but we seem to always see one another.
Yeah.
And at first I was really upset. I mean, she was really bad, really, 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 really bad. And at first I was just like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't believe that I invested a year of my life in this friendship. And then someone very wise said, what if you would have found out about how yucky, nasty, horrible this person was 10 years later? At least you only had a year. And so you can always take these same situations. And yes, I still see the woman, but I'm thinking, my goodness, what if I wouldn't have seen through these horrible things? What if the issue wouldn't have come to explode, right, after a full year of knowing her? Instead, what if it would have been after 10 years? And then all of those minutes of my life that I was spending socializing, I was investing in her. I couldn't or didn't invest in other relationships or other people who would be more fruitful.
So what if she came to you and said, you know what, I know I've been a total jerk to you, and I realize that, and I know you're a good person. Would you give me another shot? Would you give me another chance? What would you do?
I would not.
Wow.
I would accept her apology. And interestingly, the holy day of Yom Kippur, so we had our issue around that, and she begged me for forgiveness on the holiday, and I forgave her.
Yeah.
That was many years ago. Then after the holiday ended, she kept up again. So I was like, no, I'm done.
Okay.
But yes, I believe that it is not for us to judge in that way. However, that doesn't mean that I would welcome her life in my home, interact with her. I don't need that.
Okay, so what would God say? What would God say to that?
I think if that person asks for forgiveness multiple times, then you should forgive. And that's why I would forgive.
Okay.
But I do think that even old, ornery adults are not necessarily set in their ways.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying that?
What?
Why are you looking at me when you're saying that? Old, ornery adults. Did I just hear that?
Yeah.
She's looking at me saying old or ornery adults, honey.
I said nothing.
I know. Well, I can't believe wait. Did I hear that right? Are these mic? Is this working or what?
She might be getting to know a little bit about you.
Oh, now wait a minute. That's just wrong. Don't pile on. You're piling on. It's wrong.
Oh.
All right. So old and ordinary. Keep going.
Right. So no, but I think that we can all change, but it has to come from within. So we might act in a certain way. We might be, superficially apologetic or superficially kind and sweet and polite, but then deep down inside we're nasty and yucky. So then that's who, higher powers see. And if adults and grownups or people in general are able to see through the way that someone acts in a fake way, then that sort of gets to your question originally about vulnerability, right? So if we aren't transparent, if we aren't truthful, if we aren't who we are, people know.
Okay, so what if somebody doesn't like you? And I've got people that don't like me. I know it's hard to believe, old and ordinary, or ornery. But no, I do have people that don't like me. But some of them, I know why they don't like me. Others, I don't.
Right.
And I says, well, what is it about me that you don't like? Did I do something to you sometime that I don't know? And no, they just look at me and say, no, I just don't like you. Okay.
Right.
And I don't know why. And I just let it lay there. What are you going to say?
No, I think sometimes that tells more about the other person than you when they're like that.
Well, I don't know. They just don't like me. It might be just a predisposition not to like my personality or something. I can understand that.
There are so many different situations and reasons why people may not feel comfortable around someone else. It could literally have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And so I actually had one of those situations happen to me recently. And I approached this person because we were close friends for a while, I thought. Uh-huh. And then she slowly moved away, and life happens. And, as adults, we have so many things going on. But I did reach out to her and I said, if there's something I've done, please let me know so I can apologize. And she said, oh, no, there's nothing you've done. We've just gone in separate ways. Now it's on her. So if you want to be, the mention in a situation and you want to ask, is there something I've done? Or, I'd love to make this right if there's anything on me. And that person says, nope, it's my own thing. Then you say, thank you very much. And you spend your time and your efforts with people who think you're awesome.
Have you found with the negative disposition of the country, Dr. Amy, that some people are just so depressed that they are sort of like in hiding, maybe embarrassed by the monies they're losing or the fact that they can't afford something? Have you found any of that?
I have.
I think I have too. Yeah.
I have. I think that, there are so many things that are happening in the world and in our country. From political stuff to, the recent hurricane where I am in Florida.
Oh, sure.
There are so much sadness and so much distress that is legitimate, and people should, be able to share that. Unfortunately, we don't. We're oftentimes very, very fake, and we have our public persona that we have to put on the smile. We have to pretend to be someone we're not because that's what's expected. And I think that, it's important if you know somebody who's suffering or who isn't acting their usual self, to reach out to them because they may not feel comfortable.
I'd really try to.
Yeah, they may not feel comfortable. There's a great visual I saw a number of years ago of an apple, a picture of a shiny red apple, and what social media sees is the shiny red apple, right? So imagine like the picture, you see that. But if you look from behind, you see that the apple is bitten into and it's rotten. And so depending on what side of the apple you're looking at, if you're looking at what is being shown, like the part of the apple that hasn't been eaten, it's polished up nice and shiny, or you look at the other side and you see this yucky, rotten apple on the other side, and people don't always put and portray their truth because it's embarrassing, or they don't feel like it's going to get them anywhere. Imagine if you do share how you feel, and then you don't get the help that you need from that loved one or from that boss.
Yeah.
Then are you
or from that psychologist?
Yeah, you're not going to do it again. You're not going to be as honest again. On a completely, I guess, more positive note, a lot of times in organizations, if I'm running a survey to see how happy or engaged employees are in the organization, the one thing I always caution the employer before putting that survey out to the employees is, if you ask, you have to at least address what they say in the results of the survey. So if you say, how happy are you at work? Are you ready to come to work? Do you like being at work? Are you engaged? And what would you like to see different? And then they take the time to fill out that survey, and then nothing is done, then they won't offer that candid feedback the next time. They may become more disgruntled. They will become less satisfied. So you have to be careful if you're asking someone, be ready to help.
Yeah, a lot of bosses don't want to know. They really don't, and they just want you to obey what they say and be happy with it. And
unfortunately, people are, there's so many people who need work right now that bosses are quick to fire. If you don't do what I like, no problem. I find somebody else who work for cheaper and do what I want.
Really? I don't think it works that way around here. No. It was getting to a point where we were, we raised the rates 30%, like from $10 to $14 an hour, and overnight practically. And then we were scared, and my management team was scared to let people go home. We have to control your labor, or you're out of business. And it got to the point to where I had to tell them, you got to make labor, or we're out of business. And they sort of get it, and my son sorts of gets it. He gets it. He gets it now, anyways. But this is a problem that you have to have. You have to really. You're sort of on edge as to how to handle your own health situation. But you got to make them realize that if you're not making money, you're out of business. Well, that's one less job for you.
Sure. Definitely.
So
definitely,
I think we have a good balance on it. Well, other than this has been very interesting, and I appreciate my session. I mean the interview, and this is pretty good. I get free psychological help, and she gets to sell her books. So
sometimes for the whole family. So
that's a 10 deal. That's a 10 deal. And now we got coming up next. Well, we got the worst half of the Hakim residency, and this should be interesting too, because we got a lot of legal stuff to talk about. But you're always a hoot. And other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and hire you and buy your book?
Thank you. So I am CooperStrategicGroup.com, AmyCooperHakim.com. Those are my web pages. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Amy Cooper Hakim. And my book, Working with Difficult People, is sold anywhere books are sold. So thank you.
Now, Dr. Amy, yes, she loves social media. Are you losing any? Are you losing any people on Twitter? Are you getting nailed like I am?
I don't think so.
You're too nice. That's why.
I pretty much stay pretty level.
Yeah, I'm getting nailed. A bunch of other people are getting nailed on Twitter. Anyways, I've always wanted to know this. Where do psychiatrists camp?
Where?
Intense. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. Hire her. She's a great person. Thank you, Dr. Amy.
Bye, thank
Bye. Yeah, she's terrific, I tell you what, I'm glad you heard that, too.
And you really can't go wrong with free sessions on the air. I mean,
I am talking about my own needs here, and I'm sure other people feel like I do, or even if they don't, they can identify with some of the stuff that she's saying. How she gets to be a 10 all this time is beyond me in feeling about stuff. Do you feel like a 10 every day? And
Nope.
No, I don't.
I have not achieved that level of happy every day.
I don't understand.
I try, but
why are you looking at me like this is somehow my fault?
Well, I not to make that connection there, but I think you could be more vulnerable.
I am. What do you mean more? Oh, more vulnerable to you?
Mm-hmm.
I am vulnerable to you. I'm vulnerable to you after being non-available and non-wanting to be available to any other woman in the world.
Oh.
Stating it on radio in 2013 that morning on a Friday, saying, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm through, and then meeting you that night and getting interested again.
So I got one shot.
So
Good.
There was one
Good.
shot and you got it. Hey, baby, you took a shot and you sunk it.
What?
It was a 3-pointer, too.
Oh, okay.
It was a touchdown. Yeah, right. Okay. So what do we got now? We got, we probably ought to do some, that was a long interview, but I like talking to her. She's been on the show before her husband was on the show, Elad, and she's a lot of fun, and she's a pretty smart gal. And I feel like I've been through a session here. And I like psychiatry and psychology and things like that. I want to know why I feel a certain way. It's always helped me, I think. So
real quick here, I'm going to put on the screen. This is the information for Jeff Sting's visit coming to City of Light and Life Ministry. It's coming up here in the next few days.
Yeah, which we're going to be away from, I'm sad to say. All right, that's good. All right, well, while we're doing that, after that, we've been talking about your buddy Joe. Let's do the Brit.
I love America. It's an amazing place. And do you know what I've come to realize, right? Americans, you basically do everything that we do, but you do it bigger and you do it better. Like, we have stupid people here. But your stupid people are world class. And that is not me saying, oh, all Americans are stupid. No, America also has the smartest people on the planet. What I'm saying is that when America does stupid, you do stupid. Like, our village idiot is in a park shouting at clouds. Yours is president.
Do 4 and 5 now, please.
26 million low-income American families have had their entire life savings completely obliterated. Thank you very much to the Biden administration. The southern border has been abolished. Illegal aliens are pouring in by the millions and millions. Our country is being inundated with fentanyl and deadly drugs, with 250,000 people a year, in the opinion of many, are dying, and families are being ruined because of what they've done to our border. Murders in Nevada rose 66% after the radical Democrats began their defund the police crusade. How about the defund the police? And they haven't stopped. If you want to see a country decline, vote Democrat. If you want to see the American dream that we all dreamed about, including Uncle Sam, who's sitting right. Stand up, Uncle Sam. If you want to see that beautiful American dream that we all dreamt about, we dreamt about it more than anything, then you know what you do. If you want to see that decline, if you want to see that get the hell knocked out of it, that's what's happening right now. Vote Democrat. But if you want to see great things for our country and the real American dream, and we're bringing it back, you're going to vote Republican up and down the line. And as bad as things are today, if the radical Democrats keep their grip on the House and the Senate, your finances, your family, your community, and your country will never be able to recover.
All right, we're gonna get the rest of this in there, but I want you to listen to this, because you're not going to hear this anywhere. Nobody plays these, and I want to play them because it's important. You got to vote. You got to get out there. It's November 8th, okay? Thinking like this, I'm going to be 74 years old. I want you to feel sorry for me now. And I want you to give me a birthday gift. And that birthday gift would be on November 8th. If you have to motivate yourself with this, fine. I hope you don't have to, but if you do motivate yourself with making an old man happy, then get out there and vote in person and get rid of these people who are horrible. They're horrible to themselves. I mean, who is benefiting from no police? Does anyone benefit from that? Everybody's dying. Policemen, there were 7 policemen killed just yesterday and today. 2 in Connecticut, 5 in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, they're targeted, and it's hell in most cities now. New York, all the young people are moving out of New York. Okay? All the people in California, they're moving to Texas. Okay? So do that for me, please. Let's do 6 and 7 and go straight to commercial. Don't touch the dial. Is it a dial these days or your computer? I guess it would be your
say
computer.
Button or keypad or your
Don't touch it. We got plenty more to go, and I've got some space in there if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or you can contact us, and we'll try to read your messages. How do they do that?
You can comment on Facebook, Twitter, or also DaveWeinbaum.net.
All right, hit it.
Got to get out there November 8th. Got to get out there. And best to vote on Election Day. It's much harder for them to cheat that way. It's best to vote. Just storm the place. Catherine Cortez Masto and the Democrat extremists will flood the country with tens of millions more illegal aliens. What they're doing to this country, they have no idea where they're from, who they are, anything about it. 129 different countries. People representing them poured into our country last month. 129. Most people didn't know we had so many countries. Think of it. They ram through mass amnesty and give illegal aliens welfare, free health care, and the right to vote. Far more than we give our military vets and far more than we give to our very own citizens. They're getting more than our citizens are getting, and now many of them get to stay in luxury hotels. They will abolish the filibuster, pack the Supreme Court, put left-wing federal bureaucrats in charge of corrupting every election, gut the military. They want to destroy our veterans, loot the Treasury, mutilate our children with gender insanity, and turn America into a third world country. That's what they want. On November 8th, Nevada can reject the miserable fate for America, and it would be more miserable. By the way, how are your 401ks doing? Not so good, Uncle Sam. Not so good. They're down 50 and 60%. But we have to deliver a clean sweep. Every statewide office for the Republican Party, state, federal, local, everybody, Republicans, you can prove once and for all that the silver state is truly a red state.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, well, we're back. My wife had an emergency right there, but now I should not worry about it, so now I'm worried even more.
Pretty little head.
My pretty little head.
Yes. You're pretty big.
Well, I was just called ornery.
Big head.
I was just called old and ornery by my last guest, a good friend of mine. I don't understand why she would do that. That kind of hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That took me from a 6 down to a 5.
I think she used that just to get another therapy session out of you, just to make you come back
I'm
for
just
more.
Curious. She has complaints, so how do you rate yourself as being a 10 and, being just happy? I don't understand how you can be that happy. Really.
It's pretty incredible, I will say that.
I mean, I find it a struggle to be happy and to find things that will make you happy has been a lifelong struggle for me. I'm happy watching sports, doing sports, being with interesting people, being with interesting people of the opposite sex. But of course, in my case, just my wife. Is that good?
Oh, I don't think you're making it better. I think you should just stop now and move along.
No. That wasn't
Move along.
We didn't do that for 2 hours. Why are we doing it now? That's wrong.
You are being ornery.
Huh?
You are being ornery.
I am being ornery.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you knew that about me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're used to
I
ornery.
don't like that talk.
That's right.
Well, there
That's
you go.
right.
There you go. Just whatever you do, don't grind my tires together. Do not grind my tires. I don't want that done. All right. I know. Oh, that tickles. Stop it. No. All right, let's do basketball. I lost my nuts.
I just
damn. We gotta go straight to the basketball now. I think my nuts just dropped off. Oh man, that hurt. Oh no. Holy cow. Let's do the basketball. What?
One of the things that I am watching on Facebook is there's this scripture in 1 Peter 2:21.
Yes.
And it's a cowboy bringing in a calf in the cold on a horseback, rescuing it.
Oh.
And for some reason, Facebook is censoring this and covering the photo. And it says this photo may show violent or graphic content. And nobody can fathom why this is being
because
censored like this.
It's probably somebody who's sensitive to the fact that calf is being groomed to be a steak.
Well, it just talks about Christ and following in his steps.
Okay.
It's a Bible scripture.
Yeah.
Why can Facebook censor this now? Why can they cover it up?
You tell me. I don't know.
I
mean, all these people, I'm getting killed on Twitter right now.
This is insane.
And everyone else apparently is too that happens to be conservative. We're losing people by the thousands. And it's pretty interesting they're doing it right around the election and all that stuff. What happened to Elon Musk? Where's he at?
Yeah, suppressing information much? Is that what we call it? Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Third Amendment any?
No. The Elon Musk deal is interesting because he is now under investigation by the Biden administration. All right. What about the Third Amendment?
Isn't that interesting?
Well, we need to help educate people that this amendment that's going to be on the November 8th ballot for Missouri is not just about legalization of marijuana and the revenue that will come in, but they also have buried in there on like page 27 of this approximately 39-page document that an equity czar will be created. And our most recent example of equity was when Kamala Harris decided to award the financial relief for Hurricane, what was his name? Ian,
I think.
Okay, Ian. She awarded it to people of color.
Right.
And so actually discriminated against white people with that distribution.
Yeah, we got to cut all this equity stuff out.
This is the big part.
It's racism. It's picking winners by race.
This is what is actually hidden in this amendment is that anybody that wants to be in production or growing, all of those people, those licenses will be awarded on an equity basis by these criteria, which are spelled out in there.
Pick and choose which ones they want and which ones they don't.
Correct. And so in addition, the equity czar will not be accountable to their boss. They won't have any term limits on their position. And they will institute education programs in our schools teaching kids about
critical race theory.
So
it needs to be a big fat no on 3 then.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And so again, it's not just about marijuana and revenue. The other thing is that, take a look at it. We have it posted. It's on the entire content of it.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought just now.
All right.
So I'm sorry, but that was the main gist of it.
That's fine.
Oh, that was it. according to Don Mayhew, the marijuana producers are also protesting this because, okay, even if you're for this thing, they're not doing it the right way, and they are establishing a very, very sick and unhealthy.
That's amazing that the marijuana people are actually backing the right thing.
Well, most of them will probably lose their licenses because they don't qualify as this poverty or another category is people who have crimes against them already for marijuana use or certain LGBTQ.
Yeah.
And certain, it's all this discrimination is who's going to be allowed access to this program. The rest of us will be shut out. So, anyway, we need to let people know that.
Yeah, and speaking of pot, Kamala Harris put 1,900 people in jail when she was a prosecutor in California for pot. And then, and she admitted doing it herself on a radio show, and now 2 years later says that all these people should be released, as if it wasn't her fault that they were in jail in the first place.
So Theo Duda here has another comment. I think it's
Let's hear it.
Democrat support is an illusion. They're a sizable minority amplified by the media to appear larger than what they actually are. Most Americans support American first policies, and I agree with that statement 100%.
I agree with that too. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if he agrees also that they cheat like hell in the elections, and they got to be stopped, and they are a minority.
I know for a fact that this gentleman does believe in that. So, yep.
All right. So, and do we have anyone else on the board?
No, that was it.
All right. So if you want to send us a message, do it on Facebook and Twitter
and DaveWeinbaum.net.
Or call me at 573-578-2700. And let's go through some more of our stuff here. Igor Danchenko trial started, and that's the guy that was who made up the Steele dossier, and says it was false, and he's being paid by the FBI. He's been paid like close to $500,000. I think he's still getting paid. I think they're calling him lying to the FBI or something. And now Steele, the real author of the Steele dossier, who also claims it's false, has been offered $1 million by the FBI if he can prove the dossier is correct. And the thing about that is that he refuses to do it, and the FBI, fully knowing that, still took that the information of the dossier, a total lie, to 4 different FISA courts, affecting the campaign and the presidency of the United States of America, and probably being the instigation for at least the first attempt at impeachment of Donald J. Trump because of Russia collusion. Russia. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And they still believe that. I mean, some of them still believe that. It's already been an admitted hoax, but that's what happens when things get out like that. They begin to take a life of their own, and it's still quoted that way by various Democrat politicians.
And yet they still couldn't remove him from office, even with something that was fake.
Well, yeah.
It's just crazy to me how they can cheat outright lie, and yet they still can't even get their own agenda done.
Well, they want to make it so painful for anybody in the Trump world that they're willing to destroy people left and right. So, you have something else here? Or? No?
I was just checking, but nothing.
All right, let's do basketball.
I noticed, I read where you scored about 20 points a game.
That's right.
That's amazing. How can you possibly score 20 points a game?
Basically, most of my points are scored from the foul line. John, what I do is I wait until the other team gets the ball. Right. Then I just run down to the other end. Then I set up my position like this. Right. And then they just run into me, bang, like this. And then I pretty much...
Well, that's intriguing. Right. But do you ever actually get to handle the ball during the game?
I do. Once in a while, they'll get it to me. I'm pretty doggone good the ball handler, I'm short, but Once they get it to me, I got it on it's hard.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess I would imagine. I guess at your height, you actually see a different game than the other players.
Johnny, at my height, I not only see a different game, I smell a different game.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Let's do a Carlin, one of the new Carlin bits, okay? Yeah. That's the first one.
Did you ever find yourself standing in one of the rooms in your house and you can't remember why you went in there? And two words float across your mind: Alzheimer's disease. You ever been talking to yourself and somebody comes in the room and you have to make believe you were singing? And you hope to God the other person really believes there's a song called What Does She Think I Am? Some kind of putz?
That's George Carlin. That's funny stuff right there. I don't care who you are. That's funny, man. That's funny. Jane Shepard, how Hunter is being protected. That party had to know what Biden was doing. If they didn't, they need to be fired. Nobody is watching out for our house. Well, yeah, I mean, and they all know what happened. Everybody knows. They all know that now. Everybody pretty much knows what happened. You know, they say, oh, if you said the election, anytime the first 6 months afterwards that this election seems like it was stolen, you're a liar. That's a big lie. It's not a lie. We have evidence, and even if it's not a lie, what if it's an opinion? Are we not allowed our opinions anymore in the United States of America?
According to them, no. But I'll tell you what, I'll keep spouting my opinion until the day I die. I can tell you that.
Well, then I'm the same way, and we all have. Well, and because of that, we might be dying earlier because now they've got these militias to enforce this kind of crap. We are becoming a communist country.
It's just like Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah.
If it takes me having to eventually lay down my life to make sure that my kids and my grandkids and all them are free.
Yeah. Well,
let's do it.
I feel the same way. But I feel like if you're going to win a war, you kill more of them than you do. Then you get.
Well,
killed.
That's the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
But
the ultimate goal is to convince them somehow to stop doing this incredibly illegal, dangerous activity. It's dangerous from not only from within the United States. It's dangerous from making ourselves vulnerable to physical attack, to all these other kinds of things they can do to us. They can kill our electric grid. They can cut off our pipelines, cut off our internet. They can do all sorts of things to us if we show them that we're vulnerable, and we are showing them a lot of vulnerability. Unless my eyes have grown dark and I'm becoming delusional, like in the Carlin bit. That was a great bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
That
Very
was good stuff right there. I don't care who you are. So let's see what else is new. Chicago's Magic Mile. This is downtown Chicago at its best. You know, when everybody was burning up the hood and killing each other in the hood, the south side and the west side. You know, and I'm from Chicago, so I get this. I've been on the Magic Mile, and it's a highfalutin place, the best place to go shopping in maybe America. Well, guess what? The Magic Mile loses Banana Republic, and they've lost a ton of other businesses down there. Why? Because it's no longer safe, and they have to deal with the people that come in and steal their merchandise and threaten to kill them. This isn't downtown Chicago. You know, you got McDonald's, the head of McDonald's, Chris Kay. I'm pretty sure he's threatening to leave. And this is where McDonald's was born. He can't get other people to move to Chicago who he wants in top management. Why? Because it's too dangerous. They don't want to move to Chicago. I think they took over Oprah's old studios. It's not in the best part of town. It's on the west side. I've been there, and they're complaining, and the mayor is pretty much, delusional. She thinks everything she's doing is right, and everyone else is wrong. Here's a sad story. Teen climate genius Greta Thunberg. You ever heard of her?
Oh, yeah.
She's probably about 21, 22 now. She's gone nuclear.
Oh. So
now she's
saving there to
now
destroying it?
she's saying, let's do nuclear power.
Oh, good.
Well, shouldn't we listen to her?
Oh, good.
Let's do nuclear power instead of the Green New Deal.
She's going to be just like Tulsi Gabbard. Now it's going to be, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's not credible.
Well,
watch, they'll flip it now.
She wasn't before, but
no.
Yeah, of course they're going to.
But to them, she was. So now they're going to flip the narrative.
So, but this is the kid that was the genius before.
Yes, they did well to put their faith in her words.
Gavin Newsom, the law, like you're the law in here, he's the law in California. He might be a guy that's gonna run against Trump. Although Dick Morris, who I could not get on the show this week, he says it's going to be Hillary. I don't know. Gavin Newsom, he signs a law that people who spread misinformation, doctors that spread misinformation, can lose their licenses or otherwise punished. In other words, if you had these doctors who at the beginning of the pandemic, so-called pandemic, tell you that these shots can be hurtful to you and your life and your children and your children's life, and you can get a lot of diseases from the vaccines. Your license could be stripped of you and your way of making a living taken away. 7, 8 years of medical school? I don't know how long these guys have to do this, but it's a long time.
That's where I'd be curious about what is their definition of misinformation, because that is
they
subjective.
have no definition. They don't know what it is.
Right.
And apparently, you got Fauci says all you got to do is take one shot and you're done. Biden said that. Who else said it? Other doctors have said that. Mark Siegel said it from Fox News. He's a doctor. And, of course, now if you look at the head of Florida's, the chief surgeon in Florida, and I forget his name. I have this on our site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, he's got a report out about the vaccines. And could you look that up, please? All right, she's going to look that up because I want you to know his name. He is the Attorney General. The Health Surgeon General of Florida, and he came out with this finding that you have an 84% higher risk of dying if you're a male that's between 15 and 39. I'm sure I'm getting some of these numbers wrong, but that's huge. It's huge. And Twitter, when it was on Twitter at first, they took it down. Then they had to put it back up.
State Surgeon General Dr. Joseph A. Ladapo.
Yeah, Ladapo.
I'm not sure of the pronunciation there.
Would love to see the actual.
Okay, let me see if I can get the stats up.
Yeah.
All right.
And you ought to go to the site, DaveWeinbaum.net, and look at that. You'll be shocked, because I've been saying this all along, that this is a hoax. That because I read the VAERS report, and apparently I'm not a doctor. Look, but if I was a doctor and I was out there pushing these vaccines, which were unlike any other vaccines, they weren't tested the way these other vaccines were on animals, basically. They would test them. Okay? So if they don't test them on somebody, well, then guess who the guinea pig is? We are. So we become mandated to take a vaccine that nobody has any proof works.
There you go. 84%.
Yeah. Between 18 and 39-year-olds, they have an 84% increase in the relative incidence of cardiac-related death, okay, from within 28 days following an mRNA vaccination. Okay? So this is proven medicine here.
Yep.
They did tests on this.
And I just talked to somebody 2 days ago who I used to work with. Her husband is on Fort Leonard Wood, part of the military. He had to get the COVID vaccine.
Right.
They pushed him to do it, otherwise they were going to kick him out, so he went ahead and got it. He is now starting to have heart issues, and he's never had them before that.
My banker was killed by this.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. David O'Reilly, up in St. Louis, Cass Bank, and I guess they encouraged him to take the shot. Took the shot, and within he was supposed to take a second shot. Within about 2 weeks, he was dead. All of a sudden he had strokes, and then he had a heart problem, and that was it for him. So there's got to be a ton of people, and there's a lot of evidence going into this that this was intentional to reduce the population of the world. Now think about that. Is that a conspiracy theory or not? You got these guys on tape planning this thing. You got Bill Gates on record saying that we need to decrease the population, and he's involved with these vaccines as well. There's a whole cabal of people saying that the population of the world is too much.
And then you have Twitter taking the article down pretty promptly.
And then putting it back up. They must have gotten a lot of pressure from somewhere.
Anyway, that's a sure
so
indication.
you have an interesting official, a government official who happens to be a Surgeon General of the state, Florida, and it's coming up with some pretty interesting results. Alex Jones, he is being charged $1 billion in damages, over $1 billion in damages, of which I don't think he's got $1 billion. I think he's probably got a couple mil. But what a devastating thing. And he said he made up the thing about Sandy Hook murders were a hoax. Why would you come up with something like that? I don't understand that myself.
They have some proof that some of the images that came from Sandy Hook, they were the same people and images that were stock photos used in other instances, like the very same people, but some of the very same outfits being used over and over again.
Yeah.
And that was some of it that he showed, that there were some inconsistencies here of how if a real attack goes down, how they were not following proper protocol, different things like he was proving some stuff there and just flat out said he didn't believe it was real, and then they came after him for it. So
okay, so that's going to go on appeal, obviously.
I would think so.
But he apologized, I think, for it. He admitted to it.
He apologized for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever said that he didn't still believe it was true, though. So I'm not sure.
Well, the if he can prove it, then maybe the I don't know. There was a lot of people who claimed they suffered from this this phony accusation. A lot of threats to people. Obviously
they even they showed how there were ads out for crisis actors to act in different things, and they actually had ads out for hiring crisis
for parents that would act, or
potentially yes,
that say they
looking for crisis actors. There was ads out for it. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, everything goes on appeal. Whatever it was, we got to take care of this school problem, because we've got to have these kids guarded, whether it be like Israel does, where they have the teachers have guns. They're trained in it. They carry guns with them. A lot of them just walk in with their AR-15s, or, on the hoop around their shoulders and things like that.
Wouldn't you think?
And there's no attacks.
Wouldn't you think we could have security for schools instead of arming the IRS to come after?
Well,
wouldn't you think? That makes no sense.
That's been the point that's been made.
Absolutely.
There could be an agent hired for every school in the nation for the same money that they're, hiring these 87,000 some odd IRS agents.
Patrol too.
Yep.
All right, we got 5 minutes before we got Elad, and I want to play a few more of these things here for Tucker. From Tucker, let's do 10 and 11. This is about Tulsi Gabbard on her leaving the Democratic Party. Hit it.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, the future of the Democratic Party, Tulsi Gabbard. In case you don't remember, here's a selection to jog your memory.
Watch out for the next superstar.
Here we go. Talking about it off air all week. Here we go.
Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is a rising star in this party. Tulsi Gabbard should be here tonight. The reality is we do not have enough young veterans in this party, enough young women in this party, enough people of color in this party.
You're considered a rising star in the Democratic Party. You had a position of leadership in the Democratic National Committee.
Tulsi's story is really, I think, tailor-made for Hollywood. I half expect Natalie Portman to be vying for the role any day now, because this story is not to be believed.
Tulsi Gabbard, she is going to be the one to watch tonight at the DNC.
And Tulsi Gabbard, she's an Iraq War veteran. Yesterday she was promoted from captain to major in the Hawaii National Guard. So she certainly is a rising star. The fact that she's not here tonight for whatever reason is unfortunate.
I don't know, but in a battle, I want her in my trench.
In 2016, as if by command from above, the fawning stopped abruptly, replaced initially by silence, and then by howls of scorned rage. So what happened in 2016? Well, Donald Trump was elected president. And then a few days later, displaying the independence of spirit that Democrats claim to love in young women, but actually despise more than anything, Tulsi Gabbard decided to talk to the new president about an issue that she cared about, which was U.S. policy towards Syria, a country that, again, Gabbard was virtually alone in pointing out has an awful lot of Christians in it, so maybe we should pay attention. As she put it at the time, quote, "I felt it was important to take the opportunity to meet with the president-elect now, before the drumbeats of war that neocons have been beating drag us into an escalation of the war to overthrow the Syrian government." Whoo, we can't say that in Washington. Maybe she didn't know. But they told her, shh, stop. Let the adults do it. But Gabbard didn't seem to care.
All right. We're back, and we've got a couple minutes left. We have three of these left? Yeah. Let's do that, but before I do that, let's talk about Bridget Sigmund. Awesome show. Thank you, Bridget. I appreciate that. And anyone else? And Jane Shepard had something up there, but we read it.
We read that one.
Okay, great. Let's play the last three clips of Tulsi Gabbard, and we'll be all ready. The slate will be cleaned for Elad Hakim. Hit it.
That was it. It was over. Whether Tulsi Gabbard knew it or not, her career as a rising star within the Democratic Party came to a complete, abrupt, and final halt. She had done the one thing you're not allowed to do. She committed the one unforgivable sin, which is to question permanent Washington's foreign policy. You can't do that, and everyone knows it. And if you look around, you can see that no one does do it. They always tell you how radical Sandy Cortez is, Rashida Tlaib. Would they do that? No way. AOC may be a socialist, but in the end, she's with Bill Kristol and Liz Cheney on Team Raytheon. She does not cross that line because you're not allowed to. But Tulsi Gabbard is someone who had served in the U.S. military, in fact, was still serving in the U.S. military, was an elected member of Congress, decided, why shouldn't I say what I think? And so she did. And for doing that, overnight, her fellow Democrats accused Tulsi Gabbard, the combat veteran you'd want in your foxhole, of committing treason against the country she was serving. And so she wound up in a presidential debate in October of 2019, and she responded to the smears against her. Watch this.
New York Times and CNN have also smeared veterans like myself for calling for an end to this regime change war. Just 2 days ago, the New York Times put out an article saying that I'm a Russian Assad and an Assad apologist and all these different smears. This morning, a CNN commentator said on national television that I'm an asset of Russia. Completely despicable. As president, I will end these regime change wars by doing two things. Ending the draconian sanctions that are really a modern-day siege, the likes of which we are seeing Saudi Arabia wage against Yemen, that have caused tens and thousands of Syrian civilians to die and to starve. And I would make sure that we stop supporting terrorists like al-Qaeda in Syria.
Certain people do benefit from wars, and they want more. So 3 years after that debate, another U.S.-funded regime change war is underway. And that is exactly what's happening. This time, our stated goal is removing not some third-world dictator who might have WMD, but removing a guy who has the world's largest nuclear stockpile, 6,300 nuclear warheads, Vladimir Putin. And once again, because Tulsi Gabbard has questioned the wisdom of this complete lunacy, Democrats are accusing her of working for Vladimir Putin. So if you want to know what the Democratic Party actually believes, don't listen to what they say. Oh, we want empowered women of color who are also veterans. No, they don't. They want people who support regime change war. That's their red line. That's the one thing they will brook no dissent on whatsoever. They don't care what you think about that. They don't want to debate you on it. If you disagree or even ask questions, they go right to traitor.
Honey, before my next guest, can you go out to the car and get my suit and tie? Because now I feel underdressed for some reason. I don't know why.
Would you like to borrow my jacket?
Maybe. I don't think it'll fit, though. Ladies and gentlemen, let's play this gentleman's song here because he is dressed to the hilt right there. Look at him. Hit it. I could do this all day, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, powerhouse South Florida attorney who was actually dressed like a powerhouse South Florida attorney today. He's a future attorney general to Donald Trump, maybe in 24. His columns on politics and the law are everywhere, and he is the Perry Mason to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Please welcome all the way from Boca Raton, Elad Hakim. Elad Hakim. So you're looking, you got a court case or something coming up or what?
I actually just had a meeting. So
in other words, you're not dressed up for this show.
I can be if you want.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No problem. No problem.
You were going to say, I knew I was going to get some sort of comment.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, that's what I do. That's what you do. We're Jewish, okay? We make fun of each other, and we're not mad about it. Well, maybe you are, but I'm not mad about it. It's fine.
Nah.
You out-fashioned me today, which is every time you're here, you're out-fashioning me or doing something. Parkland sentencing for murderer. He gets life. I know DeSantis has a real problem with this. How many people did he kill? About 17?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think about it?
Well, I think that it was 11-1. That's what I heard DeSantis say. There was one holdout. So, look, what can you say, Dave? If any case deserves the death penalty, this was the one. And if you noticed on Twitter, people were tweeting out incorrect, things that were wrong. They were saying that he was sentenced to death and all that. Sadly, he wasn't. Sadly, he has a life in prison now, and justifiably so. The families of those who were killed are ticked off.
Yeah. Do you happen to know Andrew Pollack? Is he one of the parents of that?
He's one of the parents. I only met him on one occasion.
Yeah, I had him on a show once. Maybe I should get him on, see what he thinks about it. I'm pretty sure he's ticked off too. Let's change the subject to Candace Owens, who just did a documentary, and she calls it the greatest lie ever sold, BLM. She thinks she's destroyed them. She's got them with IRS papers that they were contributed to almost $80 million, and there's hardly anywhere they can find other than a few mansions that they've spent any of this money and what they were supposed to have done. What do you think of this?
Okay. I mean, what's her goal? I mean, what's her end goal?
I think it's she says it herself that she just destroyed BLM. I'm no fan of BLM. I don't know if you are, but BLM is being given millions and millions of dollars by Major League Baseball, the NBA, and other businesses. And here they are in St. Louis, at least. You're not safe when you go downtown anymore near the Cardinals baseball park, which I am an avid fan and have been for let's say the last 50 years. And all of a sudden they don't have cops down there. You know, the McCluskeys live very close to where my hotel is, where I used to stay, and they were attacked by BLM led by Cori Bush. And they couldn't get the police out there. So I dropped my Cardinal tickets.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what he intends to do. You know, at some point, don't you get a little tired of all these quote-unquote findings and discoveries? All these things are discovered. Nothing ever happens.
Well, what do you do? You're a lawyer. What are you going to do? You're going to quit and become a farmer? What do you do? If you
I'll
can't
become a farmer. I'd love to become a farmer.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
and it's hard work.
Well, yes. My wife here is a cattle farmer, right here. Was a cattle farmer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been kicked around pretty good by a lot of nasty beasts, and those are just the guys that dated her. Those are just the guys that dated her. Come on, I don't get a laugh for that. I just made it up. Come on. That's wrong. That hurt. Ouch. So what do you mean? What do we do about it? What are we supposed to do about it? Someday, some way, we got to get some advantage into these findings of criminality.
My point is that we find all sorts of stuff out. We find out that people misconstrue emails that are part of a committee. We find out that...
Are you talking about 1-6?
Yeah, we find out that Hunter Biden does A, B, and C. We find out that Joe Biden knows about A, B, and C. We find out a lot of things, but we don't do anything.
Okay, but finding out about it is the first step, isn't it?
Okay, but it's a first step. When does step 2 start?
You're the lawyer. Initiate something. I can't do that. I can't go to a judge and plead a case. That's where you come in.
Yes, you can.
Okay. How would I do it?
Depends on the case. Some cases, depending on the state, you need to hire a lawyer. But others, absolutely, you can do pro se. But the point is, Dave, that there's all sorts of discoveries.
I'd like to sue Twitter right now. They're screwing me. I don't know if they're doing this to you because you're such a nice guy, but they're screwing me and a bunch of other conservatives out of thousands and thousands, probably millions of followers, unless they were all bots and they're trying to destroy them before Elon Musk gets his hands on Twitter. I don't know what's going on there, but I know one guy sued him, a guy named Berenson, who's a journalist, and he won.
That's the benefit of not having a lot of followers on Twitter. You see, I minimize the damage. But I've read. I mean, I've seen a lot of people are complaining recently. Look, you know what, Dave? It's not unusual. It's not unexpected. There is censorship going on of conservatives. And you know what, though? The Supreme Court's going to address this in the next term. They're going to begin to address at least the immunity that's provided to different social media, big tech.
Yeah.
Next term. So
that's my buddy Clarence Thomas is pushing that, and thank God.
Yeah, but they actually accepted a case.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens, because these tech giants are out of control.
Well, what about the legislatures that write the election laws and are getting revoked by the Democrat governors? I thought there was a case right now that was on the docket to stop the governors from ruining the election laws.
There is a case that deals with the legislative, basically the legislative doctrine, independent state legislative doctrine, which basically hinges on whether the state legislature is the one that controls, because by state law, the state legislature is the one that controls the time, place, and manner of elections. So what's been happening is that some courts have been, for example, if you look at the maps that are drawn, some courts have rejected maps drawn by the legislature and have created a new map. So the question is whether the Constitution gives the sole authority to the state legislatures to make this determination regarding elections, or whether the courts and other actors can make such determinations. And it's a really important case. Democrats are going crazy about it, saying that it's a ridiculous, proposition, and that we'll see what the Supreme Court says. Enough justices agreed now to hear it, so we'll see.
Well,
listen,
that is a very, very big possibility of a success of something by bringing it to the court, isn't it? So there are some things you would agree that, even if you lose a lot, if you win a couple of big cases like that, you've made some progress, because it's going to make it hell on them to cheat.
Well, it will be, it'll be more difficult in general, but that's assuming that you agree with the state legislature in your particular state. The problem is, if you give the state legislature so much power, what happens when the power shifts to the other side?
The chance you take. It's a chance you take. That's why you have elections, isn't it?
So I'm a constitutionalist. So
at least you're going to have people. Yeah, isn't that in the Constitution that the legislatures must do the election laws?
Well, it depends on how you interpret the phrase legislature. I mean, does legislature strictly mean the state legislature, or does it also mean the other players outside of that? I mean, look, can you imagine the power that you give a legislature by, if you hold that courts and no one else can have any input? That's I'm curious to see what the court says about that.
So am I.
We'll see. I mean, it's one of the cases that the court has taken up.
But it is in the Constitution that way, isn't it?
It's written in the Constitution in a certain way. How it's interpreted is up to the Supreme Court now.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So now we have the let's see. Oh, speaking of the Supreme Court rules, and the PA, that's Pennsylvania, in case you didn't know, they drool to disobey. In other words, it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court rules. The Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, they're not going to do it. According to what I read, they're vowing to disobey the Supreme Court. So what happens then?
So, just so you guys understand the background, there were two separate cases at least. One of the cases was brought in state court. One of them was brought in federal court. And it revolved around a Pennsylvania law that said that it dealt with whether the envelopes for ballots were undated. All right. So I think the law in Pennsylvania said something to the extent that they had to be dated and filled out. In the state court and in the appellate court, they both ruled and said, hey, you cannot invalidate ballots, okay, because of some minuscule little, omission of failing to put a signature on an envelope, okay, the date. All right, you can't do that. So the state court ruled that way, and then the federal appellate court ruled that way. The Supreme Court issued its order on the federal court case. So it basically rendered it moot. It said, you're wrong, it goes back, and it's moot. Now, Pennsylvania is saying, well, we still have the state court, decision. Yeah. And the Supreme Court opinion does not necessarily bind the state court. Supreme Court opinion that deal with issues of the Constitution or that interpret constitutional issues or federal issues, they are binding on state courts.
Right.
But not all Supreme Court opinions are. And because that state court ruled in favor of allowing the ballots, that's what they're saying. They're saying we don't have to listen to the Supreme Court order because the state court issued an order agreeing that, hey, the undated ballots should be counted anyway. So we'll see what happens with this. It's another.
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm a little confused here. The Supreme Court, their opinion, isn't that a decision? Isn't that a decision as to the law?
This was not a long opinion. This is an order. This was an order.
The Supreme Court, right?
It was an order.
They ordered that they have to have these things dated.
In the federal case. So the federal case was brought. The appellate
court. So they're going to do that, right? They got to follow that.
Well, the federal court has to do that, yeah. But there was a correlating state court case, and the state court said, no, you don't have to. It's minuscule. It's basically violates the I forgot what act it was, but it violated an act by requiring that you're disenfranchising voters. Yeah. By requiring such a minuscule by not counting their votes based on some minuscule date requirement. So they're relying on the state court opinion, and then they issued guidance. Pennsylvania issued guidance, and prepared a written guidance, and we'll see what happens.
So is this being further heard by the Supreme Court?
Right now, I think the order. I think the court is going to consider the case, the federal case, on the merits. I think. But no, the state court case isn't being heard by the Supreme Court. The state court case is what it is. I mean, so we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's dragged into court at some point if they decide, if some Pennsylvania officials dragged into federal court and saying, hey, you're violating the federal order, and let him explain it to the court.
Okay. All right, well, let's skip that one, and let's go down to the 1-6 committee because I know you have nothing to say about that. So they're going to subpoena Trump now. And, obviously he's not going to show up. And then he might have done it in the first part of it. I don't think he would have. But, this is a bad precedent, isn't it, for a president? A bad precedent for a president.
This whole thing is a bad precedent.
Yeah.
This whole thing is really a politicized stunt. And, why? What are we, like 20, 30 days away from the midterms?
Yeah.
Why wait until now to subpoena the president? And
that's a self-answering question.
No, but
what else do they have?
It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Than anything else. I mean, we clearly know why. And I think that Trump would be doing himself a big disservice to go and appear. There's absolutely no need for him to voluntarily appear to testify, given what this committee has done so far and the way this committee has selectively leaked and selectively chosen and selectively changed or altered certain messages. Why would Trump possibly expose himself to that?
I don't think he would, although he's a kind of a guy that likes to face these things because he likes to fight back. But if you were his lawyer, you would say, no way you're going there.
I don't think there's any need to go.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Well, if you thought you could really nail these bastards, okay, that would make for some pretty good television.
It would make for
and
great
he
television.
could do it if he was allowed to do it the way he wanted to do it. But they're not going to do that. Yeah.
That's the problem. He won't be. He's got no control there.
Besides that, all these people, except for Liz and Kissinger, are they're trying to get elected, and they have to go back and campaign, so they're not going to be available anyways. So this was all a show.
It's a politicized stunt. He shouldn't go.
All right. So what is let's say probably going to win the House? What does Jim Jordan do? Who does he go after? And how does he align this with Durham? With what Durham's doing right now?
Durham's in trial now.
Yeah, I know. Dushenko and Steele.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the Durham trial. But, boy, where do you start with who to go against? Hunter Biden, potentially Joe Biden. They would never go after Joe Biden, I don't think.
Well, he just said something that was impeachable, according to the people that impeached Trump. He just told the Saudi Arabians that if you don't lower your prices, there'll be consequences. Like maybe we don't sell you these jets, these fighter jets or whatever. This is what they did to Trump.
If Republicans take the House, do you think it's worth impeaching?
No, I don't say right away. No, but if they take the Senate
at all,
huh?
At all. In other words, what purpose does impeaching serve? You win the House already. What purpose does it serve?
Well, I'm just saying it could be investigated along with the Hunter Biden laptop, and the Hunter Biden laptop is supposedly a house of so many things that are impeachable and or otherwise criminal that they could put away somebody for a long time, whether it's Biden and or his brother, which isn't going to happen. No, but it'll probably force Biden into the position of having to pardon Hunter.
And who's going to pursue charges against Hunter Biden?
Right now, you've got the DOJ saying they're pursuing charges against him. Yeah. But
I want to see that.
But
I want to see Biden's DOJ.
Yeah, so do I. They were saying it. They opened the door on that one. They said they are pursuing charges on Hunter Biden.
On that one?
Huh?
To look fair.
Of course.
They want to look fair.
Right. And they'll give them some stupid, it's tax and something else that's, the gun thing.
Lying or something.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's all. Like I said, I want to see who pursues Hunter
Yeah,
Biden.
It's not going to be somebody from Biden, I agree. But they did open the door there. I don't know why they did, but they did it. And they did it right before the election.
It's simply a PR move, just like Elad said, so they could appear to be fair when, in all actuality, they're not doing a thing about it. I think that's all it is.
Right. Well, so where's it? All right,
they want to show them, hey, we can go after the president's son, just like we're not only going.
Well, yeah. Trump. Now we're fair. Now we can we can arrest Trump. So where is the Mar-a-Lago thing going? Do you think?
Well, right now, you mean as far as
the
what?
raid?
Right now,
they got a special master there. And now they got a raid, and the Supreme Court had an emergency session on Trump, and they dropped his case, which is probably a long shot, anyways.
It was,
yeah. But what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with this unprecedented raid on Mar-a-Lago?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it really is hard to say. I don't know, Dave. I don't know if they're going to pursue charges. I don't know what they're going to do. They're obviously going to wait. They should wait until after the midterms.
I think they're going to have to now.
Yeah, I mean that's the policy is really to wait, but I don't know what they're going to do. Trump is not going to get a chance. No one's going to get a chance to look at those 100 classified documents that they took.
Oh, they'll be leaked. You better believe you're going to see some of those before the election's over.
Well, if those are leaked, then if those documents are leaked, then that really kills their argument that they're so secretive that no one else should see them.
They laid them all out on the floor for a while. They had some of these were laying out on a floor in a photograph.
They had a cover saying classified. No one saw the classified documents.
Well, they know which ones are real classified, not classified. Who knows if they don't have X-ray machines that could get this information out from these pictures?
Well, that was the point. That was one of the points of Trump's team is saying, listen, how can we even determine what everything is before we have a chance to see it?
Yeah.
But the courts are taking the DOJ's word. They're saying, look, this is they deemed it classified. It's classified. And, Trump's – I don't know what's going on with Trump's lawyers, but like we talked about it before, Dave, it's not only you need quality lawyers, you need lawyers with clout.
Yeah.
You need lawyers that
connected
stand up to DOJ as far as reputation goes, so that the judge can say, you know what, I know this is the power of the DOJ, but this is also a powerhouse lawyer on the other side who's very reputable.
Where the hell is that bell coming from?
It's his computer.
It's everyone who people who are writing me texts.
Oh, that's so cute. All right, well, listen, it's been wonderful talking to you, and earlier it was wonderful talking to your wife. She straightened me out on a few things. You often do the opposite and get me more depressed, but no, you're fine. And listen,
you should have me first.
Huh?
You
did what?
Have me before my wife.
I didn't hear what you said.
Have Elad on first so that Dr. Amy can straighten everything out.
Well, I see. Well, all right. Well, I mean, it's not like I'm depressed over you, really. I enjoy talking to you. I hope you enjoy talking to me, and we have a lot of commonality, except that you're a famous lawyer, and I'm just a schmuck who sells hamburgers. Anyways, other than Dave Weinbaum.net, where can people find and hire your Sorry You Took Us?
Find me at Thoughtfully Conservative on Facebook or on Twitter, Elad Hakim, or just look me up, please, with any questions.
Now, Lisa told me this spring that she told me to take up gardening. So I went out and got plowed. Ladies and gentlemen, Elad Hakim. Thank you, sir.
Hey,
Shabbat
by the
shalom.
way,
Yes.
your Attorney General in Missouri is great.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a great.
You're talking about
Eric Schmidt.
Schmidt? Yeah.
That guy's doing real well with the case that he's involved with.
All the cases with Biden. He's got cases against Biden from the get-go. And he's about to become senator.
Yeah, he's about to leave
Good
us.
job.
Yeah.
You should have him on your show.
I had the McCluskeys. He was running against Eric Schmidt, and they lost. And they're also in the running for Attorney General to Donald Trump in 25 or 24.
Wow.
Yeah, 25 really it would be. Yeah. So so you got competition there. Seriously, would you ever take under consideration the Attorney General job from Donald Trump?
Oh, that would be great.
You would? All right.
Sure.
I'll pass the word. I think I did already.
Pass the word.
I have Dick Morris on the show. You know who he is, right?
Yeah. Is he still thinking Hillary?
Yeah, still is. Yeah. So.
Well, there's little chirpings that he, that he may be right. I don't know. I can't see it, but I don't know why they would do that.
Why they would do what?
Why they would allow that to happen? She'll lose.
Well, who else they got?
That's why I hope that he's right.
Who else do they got? They Tulsi Gabbard already left. She might have been a logical position.
Michelle Obama.
Oh God.
Michelle Obama would be a difficult.
There's no way.
Difficult challenger.
I don't think so. Anyways, listen, I got to go. It's almost time. I'm almost done with the show. Thank you, my friend. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody listening to the show, say goodbye. Say Shabbat Shalom to Elad Hakim, and I enjoyed talking to his wife. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I hope you come back next week. We'll have another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show. Thank you all for listening. Have a great weekend.